2025, but some are still on the fence given some other comments from the CEO. And more than that, Take-Two had some interesting comments about the Switch 2. Second, PlayStation had its second longest network outage in the company's history, and while they are trying to make it right, some fans are questioning why they could not play certain games even if the network was down. Third, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is crushing it both in sales, critical acclaim, and Steam charts, despite a very strange hate campaign against the game that seemingly does not understand the difference between concurrent players and total sales. And fourth, there are some strange developments going on with Bloodborne and DMCA takedowns. As usual, this is causing a flurry of speculation from fans about potential plans for the game. And fifth, this is very important for this week especially, Avowed has confirmed multiple modes for its game, but questions remain about performance, as one of their comments is receiving a little bit of question. Lastly, I do have a game for your wishlist and your radar, and I put it on your wishlist and radar before, but I've had a chance to play it. Now, if you like this kind of content, we do gaming variety news coverage like this, and it is safe for work, and I'm back. I was gone for a week. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. Make sure your bell button hasn't gotten switched. A lot of the times when I take a week off, that gets switched around. Make sure your bell button is set to all and not personalized, or you will miss out on content. If you want to support the channel directly, we're working on a really big goal right now. Be sure to pick the Member Plus membership tier at $6. It supports me directly, and it gets you into the back half of the channel, into all that extra content. So let's get into this. I try to make these show opens a little bit faster for you. So what happened while I was gone? Well, we were worried we were going to get the GTA 6 trailer too, but that did not happen. Take-Two took to their earnings call to not say much. All they really did was confirm that GTA 6 is still coming in the fall of 2025. But just like in the past, Strauss Zelnick has said that slippage can happen with a game of this size. Now, this has caused some fans to say that we should wait and not really have a lot of confidence until we get a hard date, as a delay is still likely given the company's pattern. Personally, I think this time is a bit different. Their last two big games, they kept making assurances about the games coming in the fiscal year, and they were never really designating a time. Now, they continue to stress the fall of 2025. This is now the second time they have stressed that, as well as their confidence in hitting it. It tells me they are in a better position to not see a delay. But they did have some comments about the Switch 2. Many people have been questioning the Switch 2's role in the ecosystem of games in sort of the coming years. Are they going to see more third-party presence? It does seem like that's going to be the case. Now, this is what they had to say about the Switch. They said, now today with the Switch and potentially with the Switch 2, the Switch device can support any audience. And as you may have noted, Civ 7 is available now on Switch. So while we have nothing specific to report, we actually would fully expect to support Switch. Now, currently, GTA 6 has only been announced for the PS5, Series X, and the Series S. And the only question we've gotten about performance and hardware like that was on the last earnings call. Strauss Zelnick was asked if he was worried about the Series S and said, our people are good at getting things to run on a variety of hardware strengths. He didn't speak specifically to the S. He spoke specifically to their ability to optimize. So if you consider that comment, and now this new comment, we could be looking at a future where the Switch 2 ends up seeing GTA 6 land on it. There were also some questions about why the game is not coming to PC at launch, and it was basically, the response was, this is what we do. We target, a smaller scope of platforms, and then we land on other platforms later. That could also be related to the game coming to the Nintendo Switch later as well. Now, as far as pleasant surprises go, this was not a pleasant surprise. The PSN network was down, and my PlayStation Portal was basically a paperweight. I wanted to test it in multiple locations while I was in Florida, and that did not happen. I was able to use it locally here in the Louisville, Kentucky airport, and it worked really, really well. But then when I got to Florida, I was having some issues with it, and I had my neighbor come in and reset my PlayStations for me, because that's unfortunately a problem. The cloud gaming was working great, but once he got everything back up and running for me, the PSN network was down for almost 20 hours. So on my way back home, I could not try out the portal in multiple locations. Now, they have since said this was due to some sort of an operational issue. They issued a 5-day credit to all affected users. Now, this has obviously caused a swirl of discussions about why folks couldn't play their single-player games. If you haven't done so already, you're going to want to designate your main PS5 as you go into your account settings, you go to other and like game sharing, and you turn that on. What that means is that your PlayStation can then play games offline, right? Even if you don't actually plug in the Ethernet cable, you can still play those single-player games as long as they don't require an online connection. But you have to turn that setting on, or when PSN goes down, you are screwed. You cannot play anything, not even a single-player game. So make sure and do that. It apparently asks you that when you first set up the PlayStation, but if you don't understand what that setting is, you might opt to not turn it on. Personally, I think that setting should be on automatically. I don't think it should be opt-in. It just should be on. So when this sort of thing happens, everybody's like, oh, I can't play Fortnite, but I can still play my single-player games. Now, in the vein of single-player games, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is crushing it. It is currently sitting at an 88 across the board on Metacritic and an 89 on OpenCritic. It's likely headed to a Game of the Year nomination. When folks asked me what my prediction was for a score, I said high 80s to low 90s, and that is right where it landed. Now, my preview, I did take issue with the saving in the game, as well as some of the learning curves they throw at you. I think Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 does a better job sort of easing you into the game. But I had lots of high praise for the game because I really thought they really dug into the depth of an RPG and gave you a whole host of experiences depending on what you choose to do and how you choose to approach this game. It is a dense and deep game. Now, it's also, just in the last 24 hours, it set a new concurrent record for itself on Steam with over 250,000 concurrent players. Now, this is giving the grifting hate brigade a tough time because they wanted to say go woke, go broke, because when the information came out that you could engage in a gay relationship in the game, like many games that offer romance options, everybody decided to call this game woke and said that it was going to fail. They seemingly don't understand that concurrent players is not every single player, as the game basically became profitable within the first couple days of hitting its high sales. Some of these buffoons don't seem to understand that when you see the concurrent player numbers on Steam, it represents who's playing at that exact moment. It doesn't represent every single person who bought the game. One of them actually asked where the other 700,000 people were, because there was 1 million sales and there was only about 250,000 people playing on Steam. We're truly dealing with high-level intellects among us in the gaming community. Now, I told you that folks were going to go too far this year and they were going to pick bad targets for their anti-woke grift, and they're kicking off 2025 with a bang, trying to claim that Kingdom Come Deliverance is some sort of a failure as it climbs charts and sells incredibly well. So, sorry about that for everybody that was wanting to use that to grift off of with content. Now, as far as pleasant surprises, this wasn't a pleasant surprise for people that were enjoying some of the Bloodborne fan-made projects. A Bloodborne DMCA takedown sweep has been combing across all sorts of different versions of this game. Multiple Bloodborne fan projects have received DMCA takedowns, including the 60 FPS patch version that people were enjoying. They don't seem to be stopping. There was another takedown issued for a Bloodborne D-Make. If you've ever seen that, it's when they take a game and they basically make it look like an old-gen game, like pixel art, pixelated. PC Gamer observed the following: these slash-and-burn tactics have naturally prompted speculation that they may be paving the way for an official Bloodborne release on PC. But even if that's the case, surely it would have been wise to service the audience before clamping down on these frankly harmless fan projects. I couldn't agree more. I don't really see the point in taking these projects down unless you have some type of an announcement planned, which we're hearing this week. There's a rumored state of play. Multiple sources say on the 14th, which is a Friday, which is a bit of a strange day for a state of play. And I was gone for a week, so bear with me. Slightly longer show open. I know you guys wanted shorter show opens, but a lot happened while I was gone. And this is certainly not a small thing, okay? Avowed is going to have its reviews hit this week on the 13th at 9 a.m. Eastern. Now, this is obviously encouraging, as the game's official release date is 5 days later on the 18th. But this is not the first time we've seen this with an Xbox Studio. The actual embargo is on the same day as early access. Not a day before, but 4 hours before. So, if you are on the fence, all you need to do is pre-order the premium edition or pay for the premium upgrade. If you already have Game Pass, you just have to pay the difference and you get early access. Don't do that if you're on the fence. The reviews hit 4 hours before early access opens. There's no reason to pay ahead of time if you're not sure about Avowed. Now, in the lead up to these reviews, there was an interview with Last Stand Media, and the game's director took to the airwaves to say the following. When asked about 60 FPS, she said, "We're going to have performance mode, balanced mode, which is in between performance and quality. So there'll be 3 modes: performance, balance, and quality." Now, this answer was about 60 FPS. Now, she did say that optimization and performance tuning were more recent, as it typically happens in the latter stages of development. So hopefully the delay allowed them to do this and it runs well. Big props and thanks to Lord Cognito for asking this question and knowing that the community really wanted to know what was going on with 60 FPS. And at the 11th hour, it seems that we're going to have a 60 FPS mode. We don't know about how steady or stable it will be just yet. The director also said that when they do fun and creative things, that people should expect a little jank in the game. Now, I think that statement has been massively overblown. It was specifically about accepting a little jank when you do something fun and creative. It was not a disclaimer about this game not being ready or not performing well. It's been very misrepresented by people who are trying to claim we have another Redfall situation on our hands. I certainly hope that is not the case. Now, I always try to give you a game for your wish list and your radar, and I already put this one on your wish list and your radar. Big Helmet Heroes. I want to rewind real quick. See these guys that pop up on the screen and cheer for you? There's a handful of things this game does that are a little unnecessary, and that's one of them. I do like the game. It is fun. I've been playing with my wife. Graphically, it looks great, honestly, for the type of game that it is. Like, the lighting and the environments are actually very charming and very fun. The different characters, the different weapons all have different move sets. You know, you could find a broom or a rake or a fly swatter, and it will completely change your move sets. And everybody has like a different ultimate. You're seeing some of the ultimates shown off here. And I actually have had a lot of fun with my wife playing this. I will say that you probably don't want to play with more than 2 people. It gets a little hectic and hard to see what's going on just with 2 people, and I saw reviews on Steam saying the same thing, that 3 or 4 players, it's just a bit too much. I will also say it's a little mindless, which I would assume that you would come to expect that. The combat's very much button mashy. There are good boss fights, though. That's kind of where the game's combat shines, because you do have dodges, and your dodge has very, very generous iframes. So, Big Helmet Heroes is out now. It's got good reviews from the users for the most part. I've had a perfectly fine time with it. If you're just looking for a mindless couch co-op romp, be sure to check it out. It's available on basically all platforms. So, just to recap, Take-Two reconfirmed GTA 6 release date is the fall, but said that it still could slip. They also said they're going to support the Switch, which we don't exactly know what that means. PlayStation had its second longest outage ever for their network since the company's inception. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is crushing it, and Bloodborne fan-made projects are getting crushed by DMCA takedowns. And Avowed has finally confirmed that there'll be multiple modes for the game. So we'll see about diving into that this week, since I said I was going to avoid 30 FPS games, but it doesn't seem like it's one anymore. And as always, I gave you a game for your wish list and your radar. I'm back from vacation, so that's the opening. And now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Guys, go through that ritual. Smack that like button. I've been trying to make the show open shorter, but there was a little bit too much for me to catch up on after being gone for a week. So bear with me. Bear with me. Let's get 200 likes on the video, and let me thank a bunch of people for their fan funding here. Super Gaming is going to kick things off with an upgrade to VIP, and we know what that means. Wait, that's Q&A. Wrong button. There we go. All upgrades count as 2. So he starts us off with a 2, and then a 5 bomb from Shiny Red Flag is going to take us to 7 members. And then Kat renewed her VIP. That counts. That's 47 months from Kat, almost 4 years. Pimp Shrimp with 19 months in Member Plus. My Chiefs couldn't get it done, but Lono is back. Get my mind off of it. That's okay, man. Feel bad for you. And then Joker Quinn's going to bump us to 10 with the gifted as well. Thank you so much, Joker Quinn, for doing that. And a $5 super chat from True SSJ Havoc says, my Eagles showed up and showed out. Hurts, shut up, y'all doubters. Fly, Eagles, fly. About the PSN outage. I was playing DB Dark Zero just fine. As long as you turn on that home PlayStation 5 feature, you are okay. We have a member renewal train. Dave Langer with a Member Plus for 21 months. Reaper with 32 months at a Member Plus. Raijin with 41 months in a VIP. Siriu with 9 months in a Member Plus says, welcome back, Lono. That is 1, 2, 3. That is 4 that needs to be added here to 14. And then a 5 bomb comes in from Joanna. Thank you so much, Joanna, for gifting 5 members. And then J-Dog's going to round us out with his renewal, and he says, Lono on vacay means I had to watch some jabronis last week. Thank goodness you're back. And Anthony Johnson comes in with 18 months and bumps us to 21. Says, count it, Jimmy. And then SDO with 23 months and a Member Plus says, it's good to have you back. It's good to be back. And John Always with the VIP says, oh, confetti-o, and bumps us to 23. We're almost to the first 25 already, and most of those are from renewals. That's a great reason to be at Member Plus and above. And Hilly's going to bump it to 24. And he says, I upgraded 48 times. That's 96 for the count. There we go. And Hadigan with 17 is going to get us to our first 25 with his renewal. And he says, welcome back, Lono. Hope the trip was refreshing, even though you unplugged our PSN. We forgive you. I literally landed. I'm walking through the Louisville airport, and it's back on. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's like, I don't need it on now. I'm home, you know? And Lone Wolf with 28 months. He's the go-ahead agent of chaos. It's Avowed week finally. Can't wait to actually play it on my Series X. Jamal with 16 months and a Member Plus says, let's go. So that's 2 to 27. But we're going to go a little bit higher than that because we got another 5-bomb coming in. We have a member train in full swing. We're already at 32 members. Thank you for that 5-bomb, Dylan. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, we need 20 more to get to 200. Let's have a nice, strong start to the day. And you guys knew I was going to come back and talk GTA 6. I mean, come on. The Take-Two earnings call finally happened, and they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. Now, I was a little happy because I was out of town. Amskin with 7 months and Member Plus has been good to be a member. Thanks for the outage, Lono. I am sorry for the PSN outage. It's my fault. I'm not allowed to leave town, I guess. 33 members already. And a $5 super chat from True SSJ Havoc says, did you see Take-Two news confirming something like 27 to 29 million Xboxes being sold? Yeah, it ain't looking good for Xbox. They sold, what was it, 2 million consoles last? 2 million? 2 million? That's it? Noberto with a VIP rounds us out to 34 members already. Welcome back, homie. Ready for the talk show this week. Appreciate you, Noberto. It's so bad. It's so bad. They said Borderlands comes after GTA 6 in winter, so I don't know why, but that somehow makes me more confident in GTA 6. And J-Dog gets us to a nice even, well, I guess it's not even, but it looks nice anyway, a 35. Thank you so much for all the gifted members and memberships today. You guys are the best. Anyone find it poetically odd that PSN was down not long after this guy's assessment of why Veilguard didn't meet sales expectations? I don't see how those are related at all. What do you mean? Borderlands is 2025, not financial year. You get my logic. I get your logic, Maloon. I do. Here's the thing. Let's just say that GTA 6 gets delayed. The Borderlands could still land in the winter. It's not like Borderlands is some protected barrier like holding GTA 6 into 2025. Because if they still want to make good on their fiscal year promises to their shareholders, GTA 6 could get delayed to March and still make good on the fiscal year. They would still impact fiscal year revenue if they did that. And then Borderlands would still happily sit in the winter. You see what I'm saying? Here's the debate that was happening in the Discord. This is a great reason to be a member and to hang out in the Discord so that when I'm out of town, you know, you've got a place where you can kind of hang out and talk. And they were in there debating this, okay? They were in there debating this. Fall. They said fall for GTA 6, right? Yeah, I saw that. You know, Veilguard failed because it wasn't live service. Some of these companies are very, very much out of touch. Like Square Enix being like, well, you know, we didn't make enough money, so we need to go multi-plat. Okay, good luck. It ain't going to change the fact that you can't launch like 6 Final Fantasy games within 6 months of each other and wonder why they don't sell as well. And a Member Plus renewal from DJB. So God of War going back to Greece is a prequel, loose rumor. Yeah, I saw that. It lines up with the Egyptian rumor. It also, if they do it as a prequel, I don't know, it kind of makes sense. It allows Ragnarok and Valhalla and all that to kind of stay where it is untouched. And they can kind of just go back with the new way they approach combat and the world and the storytelling and just tell a completely different story. So, yeah, I don't know. I think it could work. The former Rockstar employee was probably right, and that we probably won't know GTA 6's release date until April, right before the next earnings call. So this was a debate going on in the Discord. Thank you so much. Feed Chicken says, welcome back, Lono. Thank you so much for doing a Member Plus. And whenever you guys renew those Member Pluses, it counts. So keep upgrading to Member Plus or to VIP. It certainly helps. So the debate in the Discord about the GTA 6 release date was that they've done this before, okay? Eugene's contention was, he wasn't saying that it was going to get delayed, but he was saying he doesn't have confidence just yet. If they give us a release date in the summer, I think he would say, okay, yeah, they'll probably hit that. Like if they give us a release date for GTA 6 in the fall of 2025 and they give it to us in the summer, I think he would say, yeah, we're probably good. But he and I are in agreement, if we get through the summer and we don't have a release date for the game, it's probably getting delayed, okay? His contention was they've done this before. They'll make assurances on earnings calls about, yep, the game's coming, and then they delay it anyway. My only pushback was, in the past, the Take-Two earnings calls would say things like, well, Red Dead Redemption 2 is coming in the fiscal year, or GTA 5 is coming in the fiscal year. They kept stressing fiscal year, and then they would push it to the tail end of the fiscal year, and then after they did that, they would end up falling out of it, right? They would try their darndest to get the game out within the fiscal year, and then they wouldn't be able to. Well, that's not happening this time. They're not stressing fiscal year anymore. They're stressing fall. That, to me, is different. Now, I'm not saying that guarantees it. I'm just saying I feel like their confidence is a little bit higher this time compared to last time. I think most of us would agree if we don't have a release date directly before fall, that isn't dropping in the fall. Well, I just think the summer is the last line, Omar. To me, it's the last line. Like, I don't think they're going to... Because, listen, they need a chance to market it. They need an opportunity to market your pre-order bonuses and your special editions and your collector's editions. If you don't have that marketing window, you're going to leave a lot of money on the table. So it stands to reason that marketing, if it doesn't start up in the summer, then it's getting delayed. Specifically, didn't they say fall of the calendar year? That pretty much confirms no weird wordplay. They didn't say fall of the calendar year. They said fall 2025. Yeah, they're not messing around and being silly with their wording. This is how it went, okay? With respect to GTA 6. It went, we were assuming we were getting something from GTA 6 a while back when they said there was going to be a big influx of revenue in that fiscal year. That's before they even dropped the trailer, okay? Googly comes in with a super chat. I'm a proud owner of an RTX 5090. The only remaining tech purchase this year, except iPhone, would be the Switch 2, but it would just be for laughs mainly. Yeah. It's going to be interesting, Googly, if you end up having to get a Switch 2 and enjoy it. That'll be a weird character arc for you. So you have to remember, before the very first GTA 6 trailer, there was an earnings report where they said, we expect a high level of, revenue influx in the next fiscal year. And so everybody said, oh, they're going to be announcing and releasing GTA 6 within that fiscal period. And that was correct. So, ever since then, they made those assurances about the revenue. And then they came out and said that they were going to have the game launch in fall of 2025. So they had the trailer come out in the wake of that fiscal promise. Then they say it's coming out in fall of 2025. Make assurances that they feel confident in that date. Okay? That's actually the third time. I think there were 2 earnings calls where they confirmed the increase in revenue. I think there was 2 before the trailer. Then he stresses fall. Does an interview. Yeah, we're confident we can hit it. Again, in February, on February the 6th, Take-Two earnings call. They say, yep, we're going to be launching in the fall of 2025. And he's like, we're confident. We're confident in that window. But he does say that, there obviously can still be slippage because of the size of the game. I just think it's different. I think it's different when you specify a window of time. They're not stressing fiscal year. Yo, what's good, Feed? I see you in the chat. Is it possible that GTA 6 will only have 2 or 3 trailers? If you guys are dealing with blipping, it's not me. You probably need to lower your quality. We are running at a low latency, so your quality can really mess with, you'll get blips and buffers and stutters. So don't be on like the highest quality setting if you're getting blips or buffers. I've had 2 people this morning say something, D-Masta and somebody named Zinky. You both have said there's some situations. So try and lower your quality, because there's almost 600 people here, and you're the only 2 that have said anything. So try that and see if it helps. Yo, what's good, Kevin Cool? We'll get the GTA 6 release date May or June. Yo, a $10 super chat from Wired Rope says, there is speculation that the Bloodborne DMCA led to the PSN outage, just like the 27-day outage was because Sony threatened to jailbreaking the PS3. Corporations aren't your friends. I don't think they're related, but it's probably just an unfortunate coincidence. You know, Arglono in 720. What's good, Donnie? The same former employee also said that the game is probably playable from beginning to end. His interview he did recently was taken down immediately. The 23-day outage was because they were literally hacked. Yeah. I don't think they're related. I need a state of play in my veins. There's a rumor. This rumor is a weird one. I'll admit, this is a weird one. The rumor is that we're getting a PlayStation State of Play on the 14th. That's a Friday. Like, that's a Friday. Do they don't do State of Plays on Friday typically. Don't they do them Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday? I think it's probably on the 13th. It'll be this Thursday. Right, DJB? Yo, what's good, Javier Cotto? This guy says, let's keep it real now. Xbox and Game Pass is the best thing in gaming. That's not the topic. I don't know why you're randomly coming in and saying that. Yeah, it's on Valentine's Day as well. On a holiday, no less. Typically Tuesdays or Thursdays. Yeah, they typically do them on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Doing it randomly on a Friday and on Valentine's Day seems very, very weird. Is that a wise way to do it, or Sony saying that all gamers are single? I mean, listen, there were a lot of rumors about the GTA 6 trailer 2 being on Valentine's Day because of the theme of Bonnie and Clyde. We could be dealing with a lineup of marketing. I don't think so. I really don't think GTA would do their second trailer as part of a State of Play. I don't think so. A lot of people think that, like, oh, PlayStation got the marketing rights or whatever. I don't think Rockstar needs to give anybody marketing rights. They can market the game themselves and get ridiculous viewership on anything they release. GTA 6 waiting room. That's right. This Friday, waiting room number 3. You think Sony is hacked? No, they didn't get hacked this time. It was a 20-hour outage, and they said it was from something operational. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know. Thursday's a waiting room. Yeah, we might have to start doing waiting rooms for the waiting rooms. This is true. We need to be strategic about this, you know. Today's just a waiting room for that waiting room for the following waiting room on Friday. I think Wednesday through Friday we'll just do waiting rooms every day. Kevin Cool says Rockstar can play by their own rules. I just don't think they would partner with PlayStation or Sony to do that. I don't think that they would. They'll just push out their trailer on their YouTube channel and on Twitter. A GTA 6 Pro bundle? I just don't know. Have they done bundles before? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know the answer. Have they bundled with consoles before? That feels out of character. I feel like there was a Red Dead Xbox bundle, but I can't remember. Lono, probably unrelated, but the same day the PSN went down, a bunch of AI-generated games on the PS Store got delisted. Wonder if it's a coincidence? I mean, maybe when you remove that many games, it caused some kind of instability. I don't know. It was very interesting. They announced they were getting rid of that. They also had a massive PSN outage after they laid people off. So, you know, maybe somebody got angry and deployed something. I really don't know. I wonder if we'll get the official release date for Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater and maybe a Resident Evil 9 reveal or whatever the next remake is. Maybe God of War Saga Remastered to celebrate the 20th anniversary. Yeah, I would think that they're potentially going to avoid anything with Metal Gear, because Metal Gear was on the PlayStation blog last year about, here are all the games coming out, in the next year, and Metal Gear was on that blog. So maybe, well, no, I'm talking myself out of it. If they put that on the blog, there could be some kind of a marketing deal between them. So yeah, Metal Gear, if they finally do have a release date trailer, could be part of a state of play. They released a trailer, updated the store, and put out a tweet. It doesn't get any more official. Wait, what are you talking about, Eugene? Lona, the outage was clearly because of the Trojan horse Microsoft put in with Forza Horizon 5. The Operation Trojan Horse in full effect. That's exactly right. That's what happened. That is it. Lona, can we get your opinion on physical versus digital? What opinion would you like? I'm totally fine with digital. It doesn't bother me. Metal Gear Solid release date's official. Metal Gear Solid August 28th already leaked. Wait, when did they reveal that the Metal Gear Solid release date? When did they do that? It wasn't a leak, it was official? What? 4 days ago. Official release date trailer. Yeah, you're right. This happened while I was gone. Yeah. I didn't see this. It happened while I was out of town. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. There it is. 8/28/25. Yeah. Leaked last week. Did it leak and then they pushed the trailer out? I wasn't paying attention to the news feeds that closely. Game trailers have a trailer, but no one else posted. Strange. It was leaked beforehand and they just put it out, says Paul. Okay. Oh, that's right. It leaked on the PlayStation Store. I did see that. I did see that screenshot. I don't see why people are surprised by Xbox consoles not selling. They told us constantly since the beginning that we didn't need a console. Well, they didn't tell you that since the beginning. They only started telling you that the last 2 years. Dylan makes it rain confetti, and I now owe you guys a member. I will reset that member goal. Every 5 super chats, I gift a member. I will gift a member. So thank you. You guys always add into that super chat goal at the top of the chat. Give it a minute. Don't do a super chat for a minute or two because they don't count right away. Currently, I owe you guys 6 members. I'll just do the single. And if we get all the way up, I'll do the big 20 bomb when we get to, if we get to 100 today. We're going to need a big bounce back when we take a week off like that, so don't forget to renew your memberships and gift a few as well. That always helps out. If anything, they screwed up some timing, but it wasn't leaked. Right. I mean, we use the word leaked pretty interchangeably. If a game company, if a platform accidentally pushes out, a placeholder, like if all of a sudden GTA 6 was on the PlayStation Store with a release date and then it got taken down or whatever, I think we would call that a leak. I get that we use the word probably too loosely so that it kind of loses its meaning, but that's kind of where we are. Hey, somebody ordered some coffee. Kale ordered the best of both worlds, and then I had another one this morning get renewed from, I don't even know what this is. No, I don't want to be a part of your thing. My old business email is constantly getting invitations to things. What's this that you're tagging me in, Wolf Saints? Used Rockstar Games PlayStation 4 bundle. Oh, so there was a PlayStation 4 bundle with GTA 5. Okay. There were bundles. Okay, thank you. Were there ever any Xbox bundles? Or were they just PlayStation bundles? I swear I remember seeing Red Dead Redemption Xbox bundles. I feel like I remember seeing that. 2 million consoles, 30 million Game Pass subs. Clearly the future isn't console sales. Well, is it Game Pass either when 9 million of the people in the Game Pass funnel are just people that got converted from Xbox Live into Xbox Game Pass Core? I don't know. It would not surprise me if their entire strategy around hardware and Game Pass goes through a similar evolution. You know, I don't take anything Phil Spencer says to the bank at all. I don't any of his assurances about hardware, Matt Booty's assurances about Game Pass. Matt Booty says, at the beginning of last year when they did their podcast, yeah, all of our first party titles are still going to hit Game Pass. What he didn't tell you is that was going to be reserved for Ultimate eventually. Like, he literally makes it seem as if nothing is changing. Matt Booty makes it sound like, oh yeah, we're going to keep doing that. Little did you know it was going to be put to only available to Ultimate users, and Ultimate's price was going to go up. Now, obviously, you could get PC Game Pass and still get that, but eventually that'll probably change too. Are you going to buy the next Xbox console? I probably will, out of the sheer nature of what I do for a business. Not because I'm like dying to get back into their hardware funnel. Enjoy with 20 months. Apparently Red Dead Redemption 2 was delayed 9 days after an earnings call said it was on track, but I still think GTA 6 is this year. Xbox One, GTA 5. Is this real? That doesn't look real. That looks photoshopped. The Rockstar, everything in the corner looks wrong. It looks all stretched. I don't know if there was a GTA 5. No, I don't know. Xbox One? Was there an Xbox One GTA 5 bundle? I can't remember. A 9-day delay isn't that big? No. He wasn't saying that it was delayed 9 days. He's saying they announced the delay 9 days after the earnings call. Oh, wait. Wolf Saints has got one here. An Xbox One 1 terabyte. Yeah, but that's a Tom Clancy Division bundle with Grand Theft Auto. That's certainly different. Look at the box art. The box art shows the Division, and then they're throwing in GTA 5. You probably will buy the next Xbox. I'm going to need features that I don't currently have. Sideload Steam or something. I don't know. Or a handheld. The rumors about a handheld hybrid, I would like that if they could get the right performance out of it. Excuse me. All their games on PS5, PS6, why buy? Like I said, you would need some type of a feature sale. There would need to be a feature value proposition. On a console or two, it won't be a PS5 exclusive, will it? What's he saying here? News. Take-Two CEO on GTA 6 PC launch. The PC player base forms about 40% of the sales. Strategy is to start on a console or two, then branch out to PC and others. Pushes more PS5 and Xbox console sales. The PC market is now much more important. So, is he saying that the PC market's more important for the future of GTA 6? Oh, that's what's making landfall right now. Take-Two seemingly hinting at an eventual Grand Theft Auto 6 PC release. Historically, Rockstar has started with some platforms and then moved to others. Strauss-Zelnick has seemingly teased plans to bring it to PC. Grand Theft Auto games have historically been released for consoles first before making their way to PC later. None of this seems to be that surprising. Here's the quote. So with Civ 7, it's available on console and PC and Switch right away. With regard to others in our lineup, we don't always go across all platforms simultaneously. Historically, Rockstar has started with some platforms and then historically moved to other platforms. We've seen PC become a much more important part of what used to be a console business, and I wouldn't be surprised to see that trend continue. Of course, there will be a new console generation too. So he actually sees, this is interesting within their strategy, he sees PC becoming more important, excuse me, within what he viewed as primarily a console business. It's probably because of the market predictions about how large the PC audience is going to get over the next 10 years. You want to get those customers in your game. He doesn't say anything about a console or two. I'm not quite sure why that Twitter user is quoting him at saying that. I don't see that anywhere. That doesn't seem like an appropriate read or interpretation or paraphrase of what the man said. GTA Online is pretty big on PC. Yeah, I would think their live service aspirations, their ongoing aspirations, are probably seeing really good returns on PC. So they're going to want to have those things well in place. I don't even know if they're going to make... I don't think they're going to make you wait as long this time. You know? What a nothing burger. Yeah, that article was nothing. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, though, based on his commentary. I wouldn't be surprised at all if they don't make you wait as long, if it comes to PC faster than in the past. You know? I don't know how long they made you wait for GTA 5, but my interpretation of what he just said is, yeah, PC's a bigger priority for us now than it was in the past. I know you hate Avowed. Never said I hate Avowed. But will you play it now that it has 60 FPS mode? I will certainly try it day one, given that they announced there'll be a performance, balanced, and quality mode. I never once said I hated the game. I said I don't play 30 FPS games. I actually said that it was starting to look better. Some of the third-person combat that I saw actually looked pretty good. You know. Who said that? Yeah, I dislike 30 FPS. I don't have anything against Avowed. Lone Wolf, are you asking who said there's going to be a quality, balanced, and performance mode? Don't you have to play it at 30 FPS for the goal? I believe so. Previews are encouraging. Yeah. Who said you hate Avowed? Oh, Illuminati said I hate Avowed. Lone Wolf is a huge Avowed fan, and I think he even would say that, like, I don't have anything against Avowed. I don't want to play 30 FPS game on my console. The combat looks improved in each video. I would say that the interview she did where Lord Cognito was like, hey, 60 FPS is really important to the community. And she was like, well, that type of tuning happens in the late stages. Lono has never stated that he hates Avowed. Yeah, I've never hated on the game. I've simply said combat looks janky and slow, and it doesn't look like the kind of game that would struggle to hit 60 FPS. Microsoft Xbox 360 did a Grand Theft Auto combo and a Xbox 360 Elite Grand Theft Auto 4. So yeah, they've done Grand Theft Auto combos in the past. Yeah. Is this true? Is Valve making a new game? Is in my newsfeed just now. Valve does a very good job of surfacing games that players like. As his new RPG prepares for Steam Early Access, ex-World of Warcraft vet says making good games is the only real hack. Where do you see Valve making a game here? He's talking about making a game and putting it on Steam. I'm not sure what you're seeing there, Haseo. I don't want to play games at 30 FPS. Lono, why do you hate America and children? Yeah. What's that big hesitation not to trust her in previews? Listen, man, I don't want to get on this. I don't want to get on this dead horse any more than we typically already do. I don't have confidence in the Xbox studios right now. They're really inconsistent. And Redfall previewed really well. So I'm not saying, and see, as soon as you say something like that, people are gonna be like, Reforge Gaming says that, Avowed is the next Redfall. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I need to see actual reviews from outlets that don't have Xbox in their name, and I need to see the game played by people who are just going to give raw responses to it. Live streamers, myself, others, whoever. Listen, I have now hit a point where a lot of the people that are handpicked, and as an Xbox fan, I think this should frustrate you as well. A lot of the people that are handpicked for Xbox previews and Xbox reviews, I would find their reviews and their previews to be unreliable. Right? It's unreliable. I think if you look at the breakdown of if you just look at the breakdown of how they all switched their tune around exclusivity, I don't think you can trust them anymore. I don't think that they're like liars. Like, I don't think they're just coming out and just like willfully lying to you. But I don't think that I think they've all surrendered their trustworthiness, because it's like they're literally just astroturfing Xbox marketing talking points now. I made a post while I was gone. There was a couple mornings where the kids were like watching Bluey with their cousins, and I was on my phone checking the feeds while I had my breakfast. And I made a lengthy post about exclusives, and you just saw all the typical talking points coming out from a lot of the people that you would expect it from. And it's like, you know what? There are people who I feel like have just donned the badge, and they're just wearing the hat of they're an arm of Xbox marketing. That's what they are. They are just an extension of the Xbox marketing machine. They get access, they get previews, reviews, and they get interviews, and they basically astroturf the marketing points for Xbox. I believe they are paid with information, they're paid with access, they're paid with, with interviews and stuff that get them good click rate and get them notoriety. It gets them respected in the industry. And I think the entire narrative around exclusives shows you who is beholden to, the community of gamers out there, and who's beholden to a company that they want to get continued good access to. I just think it's blatantly obvious. I'm not throwing shade. It's just my assessment. I'm a gamer too. I go to these outlets and I go to these sources for information. I do. And I'll tell you who right now is the best outfit to support, follow, retweet, and source. It's Insider Gaming. I think all the rest of these outlets it's so hard for me to know who am I dealing with. Am I dealing with somebody who wants to maintain their access, so they're going to have headlines about, what was the headline I saw this morning? GTA 6 sales will be just fine in light of the plummeting PlayStation and Xbox hardware sales. Okay. PlayStation hardware sales are not plummeting. That's quite literally a dishonest headline. It's misleading. Xbox hardware sales are plummeting. Do you see what's going on? Who can you trust now? It's like I don't know what I'm reading anymore. It's one thing to watch like some fan fiction buffoon who just says things on their podcast because they either do it because they know they'll get clicks or because they know they'll get clipped and talked about, and it's their only relevancy. It's the only coin and currency that they have. But when you start going to outlets, when you start like watching interviews and you see people who you feel are like essentially running marketing talking points for Xbox, I feel like we're entering into a new territory at that point. There was a really, really good breakdown. I don't know if you guys saw this or not. There was a really, really good breakdown on Reset Era. And I'm going to see if I can't get the text big enough to make this like nice and readable. So it's a breakdown of how the demonization of console exclusives started on February the 15th of 2024. You'll notice they're using my phrasing here, right? I'm included in this breakdown. One of my tweets is in this thread, okay? So this is a lengthy breakdown all the way back to September of 2020 when Microsoft acquires ZeniMax and its game publisher Bethesda, okay? You've got Phil Spencer talking about we'll take other consoles on a case by case. We're talking about exclusivity, right? Talking about like here, I just don't see it. You don't spend $7.5 billion for timed exclusives, right? Paris believes that it's a good business move for Microsoft. he is not alone at this time. Paris Lilly's not the only person at this time who has this idea that, like, listen, they're fighting back. I saw a clip of him this morning saying, if you want to play, Fallout 5, you want to play these next games, you're gonna have to get your butt over to Xbox. And he drew a parallel to games like The Last of Us and Spider-Man and other exclusives. Okay, so this was a common thought. He says, I'll say it again, you don't spend $7.5 billion and not make them exclusives. So in the wake of these purchases, this is quite literally the thought process. Okay, I'm not throwing shade at Paris. This is what he thought. He's owned this. He's changed his opinion on this, but this is what he said. Okay, he was not alone in this. This is the one where he says you're going to have to get your butt to Xbox. Okay, you go to 2021, right? I expect the majority of Bethesda titles to go exclusive. All right, so now we're into 2021. Same commentary from him, and he gets a response from Phil Spencer himself. Xbox plus Bethesda is doing exactly what I said they should do on XCast with this round table. Phil Spencer says that Paris has nailed their plans to make games exclusive. Phil says, it did make me laugh listening to your Rico and knowing that you'd nailed our plan. Always learning from Paris. Icon Air has no credibility. This is a forum. You understand that a forum that is merely giving you a timeline doesn't need credibility. This isn't a news source. This is a forum where people can post, right? Bethesda makes it rain on Game Pass. Okay, so then we walk into 2022. Microsoft announces that they've agreed to acquire Activision Blizzard. Okay? Right? So then you get guys like Des and Legary who are chiming in. On exclusivity, you don't buy a company for $70 billion and wait, do we really need to have this talk again? So he's basically saying, here we go again. This is the same deal as ZeniMax Bethesda. He says, let me get this straight. Sony makes Final Fantasy, Street Fighter, Spider-Man, and Wolverine PS exclusive. Xbox makes Elder Scrolls, Starfield, and possibly some Activision Xbox games exclusive. Xbox bad, Sony equals good. See? They're drawing a clear comparison here. Right? January 25th of 2022, during an unlocked episode, Ryan McCaffrey says, who should they buy next? Do you see? This is a mere 3 years ago. They're basically like, yeah, let's go on a buying spree. And he says, Capcom. Ryan McCaffrey says, yeah, go after Capcom. That would be great. Like, Des Legary, my answer is exactly the opposite of what you're thinking. I think they should buy Take-Two. I think GTA and Red Dead are going to be the best bang for your buck. You see? You see, this was the narrative. This was the thought process. This is the timeline of how all this has gone on. You got more exclusive talk here, more exclusive talk, right? Ryan McCaffrey, Sony's woe is me lobbying campaign. I could see Microsoft ultimately making things worse for Sony by going at them on their home turf, buying Square Enix, Capcom, Atlas, etc. Now, the reason that this timeline is so important is because a lot of these gentlemen are now trying to claim that they've always said this was going to happen, which isn't true. Now we're to 2023. Exclusive titles in the console space is part of the business, says Phil Spencer. He calls them marketing beats. I remember this interview with the Xbox On podcast. CMA blocks, FTC court documents, all this. We covered all this, right? Phil Spencer says we're not a third-party publisher, right? The dominant player. Sony has defined market competition using exclusives. That comes from Satya Nadella himself, right? Continuing to stress the same things. Our mission is to bring our first-party experiences and subscription services to every screen that can play games. And here's where everything turned. So this is your CFO who starts talking about how you're going to see things go to platforms that were formerly considered competitors. Here it is. That means what we would have thought of as competitors in the past, like PlayStation and Nintendo. Phil Spencer plays smoke and mirrors, does an interview with Windows Central and says, we don't have plans to bring Game Pass to PlayStation and Nintendo, which is not even answering the burning question on everybody's minds, which was, well, what about the first-party games? Right? Keep scrolling. Jez obviously had his own thoughts about it. He said it was hopium, right? So we get the recap. Exclusives mattered. Content creators wanted Microsoft to go after more publishers like Take-Two, right? We walk into 2024. Xbox is not going third party, according to Paris. Xbox will keep making hardware and exclusives, giving you incentive to invest in their ecosystem. No. This is not true anymore. Took 12 months. Hi-Fi on Switch doesn't mean Gear 6 is going to ColecoVision. Rumors are not facts. Well, they're not facts until they become facts, right? February, we get the update we get the podcast with Phil. Just 4 games, just 4. This isn't a single that everything is going, right? He says Helldivers not being on Xbox isn't helping the industry. And this was the beginning. This was the quote. This is when I told you guys that was the dog whistle. Phil Spencer blows this dog whistle in February of 2024, and basically this is the beginning. And I told you, they're going to demonize exclusives. We went from spend the money, make exclusives. If you want to play these games, get an Xbox, to exclusives are bad. I said that. I said this is what they're going to do. They're going to take this as a signal from Phil, right? They're going to toe the party line, and they're going to AstroTurf and do exactly what Phil wants them to do. Make no mistake, anybody currently running with this mantra, with this motto, with this idea of demonizing exclusives, they are merely mouthpieces for Phil Spencer. They are mouthpieces for Xbox and Microsoft. That's what they are. They are merely repeating what he wants them to repeat. Right? Everybody minimizes. Relax. Everybody take a breath and relax, says Paris. Destin says just 4 games. I mean, there was a classic animated gif of Destin pulling his Series S out of the trash can because the 4 games weren't Starfield and Indiana Jones. Well, one of those is heading to PlayStation, Indiana Jones. And Starfield's rumored to be coming, so it might be time to put that in the trash can, Destin. February rolls around. End of February, narrative changes. It's now no longer about exclusives. Exclusives clearly mattered in 2021. 2024, we've seen the heads of 2 major platforms tell the industry it's not grown and they need to reach more. Boom. Narrative shifted. Narrative changed. Right? PlayStation fans dug up clips from 2021 when I said games like Starfield probably won't come to PS5. Starfield's still not on PS5. Y'all really got me. Well, there's a time limit on that one. $5 super chat tip from Siriu. Xbox is a political party, not a gaming platform. The lobbying is insane. This is such an important thread. And this guy calls him out. He says, this is an understatement. You said it's better when all the new Bethesda games skip PlayStation. A gifted member comes in. Our membership renewal comes in from Henry. Takes us to 38 members already on the week. Square Enix putting games on as many platforms as possible is about maximizing revenue and growth. A major third-party publisher should not have their titles locked to one platform, right? Me, once said the business of gaming is changing for one platform. Square Enix has not properly diagnosed their problems. They'll learn. Don't just you wait. They'll learn. August of 2024, Phil Spencer. We just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways were built. All right? He's starting to get them ready, right? Destin says they've made it clear they don't like exclusives and they're showing it. Right? And then we're going to use examples like this. Death Stranding is now on Xbox. That's not a PlayStation-owned piece of property. It was a timed exclusive, and they sold the rights back to Kojima. Lego Horizons day one on Switch. Again, PlayStation multiplayer titles day and date on PC. Spider-Man coming to PC. These are all false equivalencies. None of these are equal to what Xbox has done. Right? Kojima bought the Death Stranding IP from Sony. Sony said they've been releasing games on PC since 2020. This is true. That's not a new development. They've been doing that. Sony announced in 2022 the live service games would launch day and date on PC. Sony doesn't own Square Enix. And then we learn about Project Latitude. June, Xbox chief confirms more games are coming. Right? You're going to see more of our games on their platform, says Phil Spencer. And then this handsome devil shows up. I said last year the dog whistle would be to demonize exclusives. Right? This handsome guy here. Journalists and Xbox gamers are not using Phil Spencer's talking points after celebrating exclusives from 2021, 2022. That's a typo. That should say are now. I don't know why that's like that. So Schreier is now weighing in. 2025 is off to a bang. Schreier's like, yeah, console exclusives will become obsolete, right? Steam's becoming a bright spot for many game makers. Destin says, don't let them see you say that console sales is flattened. They'll get really mad, right? Xbox's sales of consoles haven't flattened. They've fallen. I was wrong in 2022. It's 2025 now. A lot's changed in 3 years. So that right there, I think, is just a really, really good thread and a really good breakdown of, we just combed through, if you go all the way back to the top of this thread, go all the way back 2020 to now, you're allowed to be wrong. Wait, read the first name that liked the bottom of that article? What are you talking about? Thick girls are the best. I mean, factual. That's factual username. So we should go see what else they've liked on recent. Anyway, the point is this. You are 100% allowed to have a change of heart, a change of opinion. You can get things wrong. We're all humans. There's not a single person out here in this business of monitoring, covering, or looking at the gaming industry. Nobody has a perfect batting average, okay? So it's totally fine if somebody thought that, you know, this was going to be the way things played out, and then it ended up not playing out that way, especially because a lot of that was signaled by Phil Spencer himself in interviews about the ZeniMax purchase. So you're totally okay to be wrong, incorrect, or being like, yeah, I got it wrong back then. Here's the problem. It's not so much that they're like, oh, I was wrong. It's, well, Microsoft and Xbox changed their marketing approach and they changed what they're saying, so I'm going to as well. It doesn't feel driven by conviction. It doesn't feel driven by conviction. It's just like, well, Xbox and Phil changed what they said, so I'm just going along with that. Why are we ignoring Nintendo's strategy? Why are we ignoring Hiroki Totoki's comments or Herman Holtz's comments? Why are we ignoring those? Right? You're letting one guy basically drive your entire outlook on the industry. Like someone's recently said, authenticity is the currency of today, and none of these people have it. They're getting one guide. Right. They're getting very, very, in a very bad way. They're getting one guide. Maloon says, what's the downside of exclusives for game studios? They get a bag. They get to optimize for one platform. They get support for marketing. Why is that bad for companies? No gun to my head. They obviously want it. Let's just analyze something. Right? Let's just analyze something. I like Paris. I respect Paris. I've always felt like Paris gets a little too much hate. Let's interact with what he said here, okay? So this is his reply to me. He says, I don't think anyone's saying exclusives are bad. Oh, no, they're definitely saying it. Paris might not be saying it, but there's definitely lots of people saying that exclusives are bad. They're anti-consumer. We can debate and bring up valid reasons why exclusives make for better games, but here's the truth. Now, hang on just a second. If we can debate and we can bring up valid reasons why exclusives make for better games, doesn't that have a direct relationship with this claim? Multi-platform games reach more people and make more money. Now, I told him, you have to define what make more money means. Are you talking about generating more revenue, or are you talking about generating and making more profit? Those two are not the same. Okay? So, if God of War Ragnarok would have taken an extra 2 years to develop, and then they put it on the Nintendo Switch because they don't want to be anti-consumer, and they hurt their own brand, right? They hurt their own brand, and they hurt their own identity as a company because they want to quote unquote make more money, the idea there is they could potentially lose money. All that production cost, all that revenue loss, as far as people feeling like, well, why are you taking your game over there? And potentially it would have hurt the game as well. So there's obviously limits here, is there not? Which takes me right back up to here. We can debate. Okay, so if we can debate, and there are valid reasons for why exclusives make for better games, why on earth is this the only thing then that matters in the discussion? Making more money? So doesn't that then therefore mean if a company entering into an exclusivity deal makes them more money, according to your principle here, they're making the right choice? Right? If all that matters is making more money, it stands to reason that some of these third-party publishers, they quote-unquote make more money by saying, yeah, we'll do an exclusivity agreement with PlayStation because it gives us money, they help with the marketing, our budget gets to be more in control because we're building a game for one platform. Like, that potentially gives you, as Paris says, you could argue and bring up valid reasons as to why that makes for a better game. So why isn't that better for the market then? Why isn't that better for the consumer? You bring a better game to market, the company makes more money. I don't understand. Oh, wait. I know what the problem is. You don't want to buy another piece of hardware. I thought we were talking about what makes for better games and what's better for the economy and what's better for the gaming industry, not what's more convenient for you. Do you see the problem? It's like you've created... I truly believe you've created a mentality that does not line up with a healthy and flourishing luxury market. It doesn't. It's very entitled. Ghost in the Garage Gaming with 19 months. Food for thought. Xbox selling $2 million in a year when the PlayStation's Portal sold $2 million in the same year is downright wrong. Yes, my middle name is Petty. You can be petty. Bumping the member count to 39. Always good to see you, Ghost in the Garage Gaming. Guys, make sure you're celebrating those membership renewals. Make sure you're hitting the like button. Get us to 300 likes. We only need 40 people. Make sure it's saving your thumbs up. We wouldn't. Oh, sorry, I was reading chat. Sometimes it doesn't save your likes, so make sure the thumbs up is saving. Let's get to that 300. Stalker wouldn't have released without the deal. But they won't look at it like that, like they would Stellar Blade. Yeah, I mean, there are literal games in the market right now like Stalker 2 and Stellar Blade that are quite literally there because of exclusivity and publishing agreements with companies like PlayStation and Xbox. This doesn't work. The mantra doesn't work. Multi-platform games being assumed to be better is a really bad assumption. It's a really bad assumption. Because what you're doing is you're creating an emotionally driven, ideologically driven principle as your starting position instead of going with a facts-based starting position, because a facts-based starting position would say, well, yes, one factor is that you could potentially make more money, as in profit. You could. It's not a guarantee. Okay, that's one factor. There's a whole host of other factors that go into the decision making. That's like saying, for our road trip, it's a fact that we would get there faster if I rode on a motorcycle, but you're ignoring the other aspects of doing a road trip. Where are you going to put your luggage? Where are your kids going to sit? Do you see? Do you see? It's like you're using one factor. Yes, technically, factually, I could get to California faster on a motorcycle than in an RV. But that's not the only deciding factor when I'm taking a road trip. Well, you could get there faster. Oh, okay. What type of road trip am I trying to take? Are my kids coming with me? Am I camping along the way or staying in hotels? And there's all these aspects to the trip that have to be considered. So if you make a game for more platforms, you make more money. Maybe. Maybe. There's no guarantee there. it also doesn't line up with the potential plans of what the company might be trying to do with the tech. They may want to skip PC because their tech lines up better with the Switch or the PlayStation. I don't know. Yo, it's good, Perfect Image. Microsoft is running these Xbox console gamers in circles trying to keep the spin. Like, everything is an Xbox. Then why do I need a new Xbox console? It's a handheld. So is my phone, which is an Xbox. If you guys are tuning in for GTA 6 news, the latest news was just a Take-Two earnings call. They reconfirmed fall of 2025. Did say that there could be slippage. Many people feel that many people feel that that's a pattern with Rockstar, that the games could still get delayed. Are those same people going to crap on these devs for not putting Mecha Break on PlayStation or Switch? Probably not. Husky says, I think Paris is trying to compare Xbox and PlayStation to an EA Take-Two that already have the means and the motivation to be multi-platform. They aren't at that point yet. Xbox is the closest to that. Right, and here's the problem though, Husky. There's always a breaking point. Even the Xbox first-party studios are not going to be developing games for the Switch 1. There's 150 million Switch 1s in circulation. Well, why is Avowed? Why is Indiana Jones? Why is Doom? Why is it not launching on Switch? Why are those games not launching on Switch 1 day and date? That's awfully anti-consumer. You'd make more money, wouldn't you? You'd make more money. I mean, according to the things I'm hearing, according to the things I'm seeing, leaving 150 million people out in the cold from getting your game and basically telling somebody, well, if you want to play Doom the Dark Ages, you're going to have to buy something more than a Nintendo Switch. That's awfully anti-consumer. That you would make more money. That's 150 million people. Well, of course you wouldn't do that because it's ludicrous. You know that there's just certain games that you're not going to do that with. Just like Helldivers 2, it's not on the PlayStation 4. They left a sizable group of people out of the Helldivers funnel. 60 million some odd people. Well, why? Well, because of the goals and the aspirations of Sony and PlayStation, of Arrowhead, the engine, what the game could be capable of doing on older hardware. Like, those are all things that have to be in the room and part of the discussion. That's why these types of blanket statements, they don't actually say anything. It would be like me telling you, oh, you're planning a road trip? Well, fastest way to get there is a motorcycle. And you'd be like, well, okay, that's not helpful. The fastest way to get there? That's not the fastest way for me to get there if I'm taking my family. Eugene says, how does something that benefits one group of consumer but not another become anti or pro-consumer? What's the dividing line? Exactly. It's like if I'm getting better games on the Switch 2 because Nintendo's paying for exclusivity, like they pay for exclusivity. They've got deals with certain games, do they not? Well, I mean, don't I benefit from that if I have a Switch 2? Don't I benefit from Stellar Blade being exclusive? Don't I benefit from that? I got a really good game. Didn't I benefit from the partnership with Team Ninja and Rise of the Ronin? I got another game to play that year. I got another game, to spend my time in. I don't benefit yet. Trey Gaming says, Xbox was my main, but I've always owned a PlayStation. Now I gave on Xbox, and now I made my PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm tired of being lied to by Microsoft. A lot of people feel that way. New Batman game coming? Not anytime soon, Darren. Not anytime soon, but yeah, it's good to hear that Rocksteady has started on a new Batman game. That's just where they need to stay, unfortunately. It's like Gearbox just should make Borderlands. I believe Nintendo will have more exclusivity deals with third party than Sony, says Maloon. In fact, A lot of the first-party games aren't even made by studios they own, like Rabbids or Smash. Yeah. They don't. Nintendo actually does not own a lot of studios. That's true. I remember when I looked into that, I was surprised that a lot of their games, a lot of their first-party stuff is not made by studios that they own. They simply own the IP. Yeah. I don't think it'll be an Arkham continuation, Sven. I think they'll go into another timeline. Yeah. Look, they don't make Pokemon. Yeah, like Batman Beyond, Sven. That's what I'm thinking. Husky says, exclusives will always exist. It has been a part of gaming since the beginning. It's silly to demonize the concept. Yeah. Like I said, the reason I pulled that up, and it's a relevant conversation. It's relevant to the news. It really is. It's an ongoing conversation with Xbox's evolution. They've got Avowed coming this week. And that's what sent us down this rabbit trail. If you remember, rewind the clock on this conversation, people were like, well, Avowed is getting good previews. And this is what I said to you. I said, listen, I have a really hard time at this point trusting the voices of people who have literally just at every step of the way, they're just going to repeat the talking points of Phil Spencer. I only need one Phil Spencer. I don't need multiple versions of him. You don't need to be another version of Phil. I don't need his talking points repeated. Let him do that. That's his job. He's a CEO in the face, all right? He's the man. He's a frontline man. Him, Matt Booty, and Sarah Bond, okay? When I come to your podcast, your outlet, or your preview, or your review of something, it's just extremely hard at this point to not think you just spent the last 2 years shifting and moving and weaving throughout all of the twists and turns of Xbox's evolution, and at every step of the way you've just astroturfed for them. You've just run whatever talking points that they've wanted to say. So when you tell me, oh yeah, that game's good, yeah man, that Xbox game, I got to preview it, it's good, it's awesome, I'm like, okay, sure. I expect nothing less at this point. I just expect you to be an ongoing commercial for the brand, because that's where you've landed. To be fair, there are others who don't do that, who preview the game. Force Gaming. Force Gaming is probably your strongest one in there, because I've watched most of his stuff, Lone Wolf. The other people I'm less familiar with. But again, previews tend to trend positive. It's the reviews from people like that I typically put more weight behind. Whether if Force Gaming does a full review of something, or if Skill Up does a full review of something, I tend to put a lot of weight behind what those gentlemen say. I believe that they are very reliable. So yeah, previews just tend to lean positive. We've seen this before. And I think it's because a lot of the times people don't want to, oh my gosh, and a 50 bomb comes in from MASH, and he says, we've got to start off the week with a bang, and he gets us right on the doorstep of 100 members. MASH wasting no time helping us bounce back on the member count. If you got a gifted membership from MASH, be sure to say thank you. This guy's generosity is virtually unmatched. There have been some people recently trying to compete with him with 50 bombs, but he's usually the king. And if you get a membership, you can make space for others by upgrading that membership. It's $1 to upgrade to Member Plus, and you can help us with the big goal and get into more content. So consider doing that. If you're like, man, I really can't right now, enjoy the gifted membership and all the extra shows. I believe this Friday is me playing Avowed at 30 FPS, and we'll do some fun modifiers because it is Valentine's Day. We typically don't do anything for Valentine's Day, so. Did you yell enough for your daughter to come and say something? No, they're all the way upstairs doing school, so I don't know if she heard me. I didn't yell quite as loud. I usually get louder and louder as the day goes on, depending on how many we get. Mash, you're absolutely incredible. He's a madman. Did you get into the network test for Night Rain? I'm not network testing Night Rain. I don't typically do that kind of thing. Love seeing the viewership we're having on the first day back. Yeah, we've got a much more reliable core group of people, Lone Wolf. I don't ever feel like scared to come back now. I feel like we typically bounce back pretty strongly. I can confirm it can get really loud. Really loud. Stop it. Whisper 50 bomb into my ear. No. So, listen, and here's the thing. You know, the statement like don't hate the player, hate the game. I get the entanglement that a lot of these people have found themselves in. You know, you guys saw I replied to Elon Musk on Twitter. You know, he says gaming journalism is a joke or whatever, and I was like, well, how would you fix it? How would you fix it? I wasn't expecting a response. I don't think I'll probably get one. But I've got, obviously, my own ideas. But the problem is you're never going to get those ideas off the ground because a lot of these companies have a vested interest in... They have a vested interest into maintaining this interwoven nature that they have, where they have companies that depend on them for access, and losing that access is a big deal. You know, suddenly not getting the press releases, suddenly not getting to go to capture events, suddenly not getting the interviews. You know, they exist in a space where information is money. Information is power. And that's always going to be, I think, an immovable object in the equation. Keep shining a light on the bad actors and their benefactors, and eventually the tides will turn. Yeah, I mean, I think there's enough YouTubers that still get access and they still get reviews because they're just so large. Like, you almost can't afford to ignore every major YouTuber out there just because you're like, well, we want to be able to control the narrative. Right? I don't think the companies are ever going to do that. I don't know if there's ever going to be a time, though, where you could say, oh yeah, we've really purified the funnel, and you know, and only good folks are getting access now. You're always going to have those podcast outlets, you know, blogs and reporting that is very much driven by access. And a 5 bomb comes in from Siege Master, and he gets us to 94. When we get to 100, I owe you guys 20 members. Off to a really strong start already for the week. And a 10 bomb comes in from Siryu. That is an Agent of Chaos 10 bomb that puts us at 104. And I owe you guys a 20 bomb now. Thank you, Siryu. You guys have been so insane lately. It's so good to see other folks jumping in and tag teaming with our boy Mash. You could also just make your game so good that you're not worried about who reviews them. But here's the thing. In the same vein of what I was just saying about how, like, you can't just say, well, if you make games for more platforms, you'll make more money, right? That's too simplistic. That's too minimalistic. It's just reductionist. Like, you're not saying anything. You know what I mean? Like, no offense to Paris or anybody else who has said that, but you're not saying anything of substance. You're saying something that is so platitudinous that it's just vapid by nature. It's like, well, you're not saying anything. In a similar vein, we'll just make your games good and then we won't have a problem. I mean, yeah, sure, but it's not that simplistic. There are so many facets that go into that. There is the publisher. They've got their own deadline. There's internal issues and problems. You could have bad leadership. You can have bad project leads. There's so much that can lead to a game coming to market and the game just isn't ready. I'm not excusing it. I'm just saying if it was as simple as game devs being like, oh, if only we would have thought of that first. If only we would have thought of, like making the game good, you know, we wouldn't be in this mess. It's like the idea of like, well, yeah, if you just press the multi-platform button, you could make more money. And it's like, it's not that simple. We need demos. Yeah, I think game demos and trials are actually, we're seeing more and more. I think we're seeing a rise in that. I think it's actually very helpful. With games like everything else, you can please some of the people some of the time, but you can't please everyone all the time. This is exactly right. Why don't they all just, why doesn't everybody just make Fortnite? Well, and that's what a lot of companies have done. A lot of companies have basically said, well, let's chase the almighty live service dollar. And that's also hurt them. I'm just saying it's because it seems like Microsoft is the only one doing selective reviews. Yeah, I mean, Dragon Age Veilguard did it. And we know why. They didn't want certain things highlighted or talked about because they knew it would hurt the game's reception more than it had already been hurt. Everyone who are here probably have generous heart. I've come to know, says Haseo, Reforge Gaming attracts nice and generous people that actually want to help him out, not just try to put up a facade. Well, I appreciate that, Haseo. It makes me more cautious to try new games off rip. I'll say this, it's a two-way street. I don't think the consumer has any reason to buy something ignorantly. There's no reason for you, like this morning, we were talking about how the nature of review embargoes and how when a review embargo drops days before a game's release, that's usually a really, really good sign. But there's this new development happening where the review embargo lands on the same day as early access. And I told people, if you're on the fence about Avowed, you don't have any excuse, just wait. Wait and read the reviews. Get a consensus, check OpenCritic, check Metacritic, read the more negative ones, read the more positive ones, and try to get a consensus. And then, if you're like, it's worth it, it's good, it's in good shape, what do? Well, then you go and pre-order the game, the premium edition or upgrade to the premium edition, and then jump in early access for the weekend. You don't have any excuse. Like, if you can't like resist and you've already pre-ordered the premium edition or you've already upgraded to the premium edition and then the game comes out and has problems or is disappointing or is rough around the edges, that's on you. You were in the position of power as the consumer. Don't abdicate that position purely because you're impatient. There's the 20 members that I owe you. If you're on the fence right now about any game, I don't think you have any reason to fall prey to buying the game and then being disappointed. I don't think there's any reason for that to happen to you. In a day and age where there's YouTubers, there's streamers, there's, for the most part, there's pretty decent review embargoes. There's no reason for you to do that. I just wait. You can literally wait 4 hours. And a single gifted from Lone Wolf comes in and he makes it very tempting for somebody to drop a 20 bomb right up to 125. Thank you, Lone Wolf. What about how reviews portray Jedi Survivor or Wukong on console? Yeah, I think there are exceptions, Omar. Generally speaking, I don't find that to be as common. I think it's far more common that you can get a very good consensus from OpenCritic and Metacritic day the embargo drops. And I think that's a pattern that's well in place. I think it's rare to be like, oh man, the reviews are glowing for like Jedi Survivor, and then you go to play it and it's like, oh my gosh, there's so much jank in here. I followed my own rule. I didn't pre-order Civ 7 despite my absolute faith in Firaxis. Turns out it is a complete mess. oh, it's an incomplete mess. Waiting and seeing the only thing that makes sense anymore. It's really true. It really is. Especially with live streamers. To me, I think the backstop, I think the levee wall is your live streamers, Omar. If you see a bunch of reviews and you hear some mention of technical problems and performance problems, and you're like, huh, I wonder how severe that is. Just watch a handful of streamers and you'll find out real quick. They'll tell you. Hollow says, I was hurting last week not being able to listen to the podcast to get me through my work mornings. Well, I'm back, and I shouldn't be leaving until we should have a nice run here of like 4 or 5 months of me not needing to take any trips. You can get the pre-order bonuses in a lot of other cases now. Well, that's the other issue for sure. If like the review embargo drops the day the game's available and you're like, well, I can't wait because then I won't get the pre-order bonuses. That's obviously a little scummy, you know? I would say it's a little scummy. David Hootout with 12 months and a member plus. Thanks for a great year of content. That's an entire year of support. Thank you so much. But I think that's also rare. I think the review embargo dropping the day that the game's available, so that like if you're waiting on the review embargo, you're going to miss out on the preview. I'm sorry, the pre-order bonuses. I don't think that's as common. Narwaffle with 32 months says another one. Let's add another one to the count. That gets us to 107. And then we're going to go to 108 because Gordon renewed as well. Welcome back, Lono. Off to Cork tomorrow to shop for wedding rings. Exciting time ahead. Yo, congrats, Gordon. Let's get some congratulations in chat for Gordon. That's awesome, brother. Have fun. I would say Outer Worlds will be a lot funnier than Avowed. Funnier? Why are you worried about one being funnier than the other? Are you just saying that game tone will be different? Gordon Freeman? No. Gordon McLennan. I'm happy GTA 6 is going to cost about 70 instead of 100. Yeah, Otto, a lot of people were worried about the GTA 6 price, but the guy that started that narrative was just an analyst. He was doing a presentation on how companies could maximize revenue from the gaming market. And he was basically hopeful and saying that, well, you know, we could see, you know, Take-Two could be one of the first games to crack the seal on a, you know, $100 game or whatever. And it's like, he wasn't saying that they're going to. Where'd you go? I took a family trip to Florida. Let me see here. Live discussion. I do have a poll on the channel right now asking folks if they think that the GTA 6 release date, will it land in fall 2025 or get delayed? It's a 60-40 split right now. It's a 58-42. So it's nearing being a split down the middle. Make sure you take that poll. We've had a couple of those polls do really, really well on the channel. I've got one about God of War that has almost 9,000 votes on it. So I think YouTube is pushing those in front of more people. So, and I know you guys like taking them. I think it's fun, especially if we pick good, you know, good discussion ones. If GTA 6 does $100 week early access, I'm doing it. That's how they can sell $100 versions of GTA 6. It's not hard. No, there was not a vid this morning. I got back and just did not see anything worthy of a vid that wasn't just going to be me repeating myself. Speaking of jank, I think Carrie Patel's comments on the jank in Avowed has been so overblown, Talika. It's been so overblown. She's not saying expect the game to be janky. She's saying when you do fun and creative things, you've got to expect a little jank. Like, I don't think she's hedging with like this idea that like it's gonna launch and be like like Redfall or, you know, maybe some of the more worse bugs that we saw in Starfield or even like Fallout 4 at launch. Her comment was very, very low key, very understated, and everybody's acting like she said, yeah, our game's going to be janky when it comes out. Just expect it. in the context of what she was saying, I don't think it's this big disclaimer. It's gonna suck. It's gonna be glitchy and buggy. Like, I think people are overstating what she said. I used to be an Xbox fan, and today I'm going to Best Buy for a PS5. I love this channel. Well, if you do PS5 Pro, or a PC, I think those are all great options. I think a lot of people have switched to PC and are very happy with their decision. You know, if you assess what you think is going to give you the most value and you've decided that it's PlayStation, I think that's good. There's some people here that have pivoted to PC and are happy with that choice as well. Any gifted today? I never got one. Your account's 3 weeks old, so you didn't get a clip. There's a bunch of jank and stuff like Baldur's Gate 3 and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, so it's been a thing with games that have a lot of freedom. Yeah, it was like when we were watching, what was it? Was it a preview of Stalker 2 and like a dog got stuck in a fence? And I was like, that's just kind of the thing that happens in those games. Like, that's not a concern to me. You know, when you have like open environments and NPCs and animals and stuff like interacting with the environments, like they're going to get glitchy, stuck, funky stuff's going to happen. The jank comes from not being able to do first and third person perfectly if you're doing both. If they have any Founders Edition 5090s in stock, grab one for me. I'm good for it, says Zubair. Is anything known about Amy Hennig's Marvel Rise of Hydra release? No, we know almost nothing. I mean, there's like everything we know articles out there, and mostly what they're going to do is just regurgitate press release stuff that was announced ages ago. You know what I mean? I love my PS5 Pro, and I've not had a PC for like 6 years. I cannot afford a $4,000 PC, so console's good for me. Yo, what's good, Claridge? He's back. I am back. It's also when you have systems that can collide with each other, you don't know what's going to happen. Right, like if you create an NPC that can do a jumping attack, and you kite them to a weird area, you know, there's a lot of freedom and fun in that. But then the character, the enemy, might glitch out. You know? He might get stuck in a rock. He might fall off the map. Like, I don't think what she said is the way people are interpreting it. I don't think people are interpreting it in good faith. I don't think people are interpreting her comments in good faith. I think they're interpreting them in the most negative way possible. And I have a very, strong dislike for that. I don't like when people do that. They do it with YouTubers, and myself all of the time. The Cisco gifts a member. Thank you so much, Cisco. And he bumps the member count to 109. Thank you so much, sir. Just put Kratos in The Last of Us as a main character, and so on and so on. Huh? The PC prices have gone absolutely nuts this past week. It's crypto mining all over again, says Zubair. If I can't buy the card at MSRP, then I'm not buying it. You do you, but that's my rule. Yeah, they're squeezing the early adopters. That's pretty normal, I think. I don't think that's abnormal at all. Hasn't Bethesda built an entire empire on jank? I mean, Ray gifts a member and gets us at a nice rounded out 110 members. Thank you so much. 15 away from 125. That's Bugs. I think the charm of a buggy game has faded. I'm not speaking specifically to Bethesda. I do think Bethesda is an example of this. But I think if you come out with a game now, open world game, and there's all these different things you can do, and there's some bugs and some glitches in it, I think that's getting less and less charming. I think people are less and less forgiving of it. I think it's just annoying at this point. You need to watch what she said. In what regard, Paul? Helldivers got a bit of jank, and sometimes it makes for a pretty great... Yeah. There's some janky things that happen in Helldivers. That's exactly right. I love Bethesda games. When I first played Oblivion, it was amazing. I don't think it's about the bugs. I think it's about the freedom their game gives you. The context of what she said is, when you do fun and creative things, you have to accept a little bit of jank. You know what I mean? Directly after saying about the jank, can you just say it and tell us what we're missing? Is it Paul? Can you give us a summary? My equip items are not changing. You crashed Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 once so far. Where are you playing? I'm really trying to pin down why some folks hate jank and some find it endearing. I don't think she's saying a broken game. I don't think so either. The quote was about, like, if you have to accept a little bit of jank if you're going to do fun and creative things. Meaning, like, Sorcerer with 44 months on a VIP, thank you so much. Meaning, like, if you're going to give fun and creative and innovative choices to your teams as well as to the players, it's just going to introduce some silly janky things sometimes, like an NPC could get stuck in a wall or something. Like, that's the kind of thing that I don't think is that big of a deal. It's not about liking jank. Jank is the result of freedom and complexity in a game. Right, like if I'm playing an open world game and an NPC gets stuck, you know that typical thing where they get stuck or they die and their body is like freaking out, you know? I'm not like, it's unbelievable. Look at this jank. It's like, oh yeah, that's just something that happens. That's kind of part of the journey for certain games. Now, when I'm playing a more curated experience, you know, somebody asked me about Tales of Iron. I saw your question, and feel free to ask it again. I don't know who asked me about it. I rolled credits on Tales of Iron 2, but it says I'm only 57% through on the PlayStation page. I'm like, I don't understand. I beat the final boss. I rolled credits. All that's left to do now is a bunch of side mission stuff, which I'm not that interested in. The side missions and the excuse me, the side missions and the hunting and stuff I found to be not the most fun. I liked the main story and the mainline quests the most. 57% for the plat trophy. Usually the 57% thing next to your hours played is attached to how far you have left in the main campaign. So if they attach the 57% to the platinum, that's very weird. Most games I roll credits on, it says 100%. I've said this before, percentages are usually the platinum. Not for me. Like, the last 10 to 15 games that I've rolled credits on, it says 100%, and I don't platinum games. So I either just got really, really lucky, and all the games I've rolled credits on have shown me 100% on that main page, and then this one is now showing 57. I've always had it roll over to 100% when I roll credits. Well, I shouldn't say always, but I feel like this is the first one that didn't do it. I don't care. I just thought, wait, I rolled credits. Why does it say 57%? Trill says, jank's not only the result of freedom and complexity, though. It could also be the result of bad optimization. The context in which she said it, I don't think she's saying our game's badly optimized, expect jank. I don't think that's what she was saying. English O with a renewal of 41 months. Next time you're on vacation, I demand that you take time to still do the daily show. I had to actually work last week instead. Hope you are well rested and ready for a busy week ahead. Thank you very much. And that bumps the member line to 112. Define jank. Little bugs and glitches. Your character gets stuck in something, an NPC gets stuck in something. You're talking to an NPC and their head's like shaking, you know, little things like that. Sometimes like you're in a cutscene, you'll see everything in the background like kind of pop in. That would be described as like, that's a little janky. It's not like a broken game that you can't play. It's not like, oh, I fell through the map and now I'm soft locked and I lost my checkpoint. That's not jank. You know, Yo, what's good? Freddie Jackson with 46 months and a member plus. He bumps the member line to 113. Thank you very much. In my opinion, jank is unintended game mechanics from bugs. It could be fun or game breaking. So quirks. Yeah, you know, little again, it's not something that's going to make you like uninstall. You're not like, well, I'm done. I don't want to play this game now. You know, this is trash. It's usually going to be something minor and tolerable. Again, I think her comments are being largely overblown. I don't think she was saying game's going to be unoptimized and glitchy and buggy. That's just the nature of games. Ha ha ha. No, I think what she's saying is whenever you do creatively, you know, creative choices and choices about freedom, you got to accept a little jank. That's just what's going to happen. Who said this? The director, Carrie Patel, director of Avowed, said this. Guys, if you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, it is free to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost anything. It enables you to talk in my chat. Make sure if you are subscribed that your bell button didn't get switched. Sometimes when I take time off, you get bumped off of getting all of the notifications and it'll say personalized and you'll miss shows and you'll miss uploads. Also, make sure it has saved your like. We could easily hit 400 likes right now. We have not been streaming that long. We've only been streaming for like an hour and 45. So get us to 400 likes. That really helps the video. On PlayStation, the percentage is for platinum. Unless it has DLC trophies, then you can still get a platinum trophy and not be at 100%. Listen, I'm here to tell you what you guys are saying is not consistently true. I only have 25 out of 69 trophies for FF16. Can confirm it still says 100% because I beat the game. Which percentage? The one right next to playtime. You turn on the PlayStation. It says play now. And over to the right, there's how long you've played, and then there's a percentage. And I am here to tell you, I have consistently seen that percentage go up just because I'm playing through the main campaign. That's not the plat percentage. That's what I'm trying to tell them, Eugene. I'm like, we might be passing in the night. That little percentage next to the hours in the game is not about platinum. I always get 100% after game completion, no trophies at all. Right, that's what I'm saying, Vithar. I've never platinumed a single game. It depends on the game. Or they're going to another menu, Jay, and we're just getting confused. That's incorrect. All of my 100% next to playtime is upon completion of the game, and I don't go for platinums. That's exactly been my experience, Cloud Strife. Lono, you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to platinum all your games. It literally says it. Yeah, it literally says, this is your progress completing the main missions within the game. It literally says it. Right here, for Final Fantasy 16, Spice King's got it. This is your progress completing the main missions within the game. 100%. This is what I'm talking about. This is not for platinum. And I'm here to tell you, I rolled credits on Tales of Iron 2, and for whatever reason, it didn't update. It did not update to 100%. I'll double check and see if it's fixed itself now. Yeah, 7 hours, 57%. I rolled credits. The first Tales of Iron, I played for 11 hours, and I got 100%. 9 Souls. I know I didn't do everything in 9 Souls. They don't even give you that one. That one doesn't even show it. That's weird. Hogwarts Legacy, 88%. Because I didn't finish the main story. But I rolled credits on Space Marine 2, 100%. Kena Bridge of Spirits, 100%. Astrobot, I think, keeps getting updated. Yeah, now it says 99%. I think it keeps waffling from 100. Plague Tale Requiem, 16 hours, 100%. It's just for main story. I think mine's glitched because, like, there was some quest it was bugged and I couldn't do it. It's like I couldn't get this door to open, and it was just a side quest. It didn't tell me that I needed anything, and I think that might have glitched out the percentage tracker on Tales of Iron 2. Did you enjoy Tales of Iron 2? I did and I didn't. They made some changes that were good. They also made some changes that were really stupid. I don't... They added depth that was nice, but they also added depth where it wasn't needed. They made it really cumbersome. They have this super elaborate... super elaborate inventory system and itemization. There's so many. There are so many different weapons and weapon combinations and abilities and things that you can do, right? And it's so difficult to navigate that I just started going with, I made something that I felt like was the strongest, and I made my armor what I felt was like the strongest, and I just rolled with it. And then they did this really stupid thing where if you want your weapon to be at its sharpest, you need to keep whetstones on you, but you could only carry 2 at a time. So you would get in like a boss fight, and you would wear down your sharpness, use a whetstone, keep fighting, wear down your sharpness, and use the whetstone. And by the time the boss fight was over, you needed 2 more whetstones. So now I got to boomerang back to a shop and buy whetstones so that I can just kind of continue playing the game. It doesn't make any sense. It's like, why did you add this? It's not like I could save up a bunch of money. Like, I did a bunch of side quests, so I was rich. It wasn't like I could go to a shop and buy like 20 whetstones and periodically have to stock up. You can hold 2 at a time, which is obviously very tedious because you go to the shop and you can only buy 2. And guess what? Typically when you're buying whetstones, you need to use one right away. So you'd go to the shop, you'd buy your 2 whetstones, you'd sharpen your sword, you'd go back into the shop, and you'd buy a second whetstone. It was like, why did you make this system? It's not enhancing to the gameplay experience at all. It's this awkward, unnecessary flat tire. I was like, I really truly don't get why they did it. It made no sense. It made no sense. And then they had boss fights, which, you sharpen in the middle of a fight, for sure. It's just like Liza P, to a certain degree. You've had to find moments to do it. I agree they made some questionable design decisions. I'm only a few hours in. What changes did you like? Okay, so at first I didn't like this, but then I grew to like it. You will get a boss down like a fourth of its health, and then it runs away, kind of like in Monhun. And now you got to go to a new location. At first I didn't like that, but once the fights get a little bit harder, it's nice. It's like, okay, I got this guy down to like a fourth of his health, and if I die, I don't have to start all the way back over again. So they were able to make some bigger, more challenging fights that don't feel like this insane time sink where like you get the enemy down to like, they're almost dead, and then they kill you, and now you got to start all the way back over. So it enabled them to have longer and bigger boss fights, which I thought was kind of cool. So I liked that. I liked the inclusion of magic. I thought that was good. Like you have these like 4 spells that you learn, and you can like use them against the bosses. XCal with 33 months says, welcome back, Lono. Thank you so much. And gets us to 114. So they definitely broadened the scope of the game as well as they added some depth to it, but a lot of it felt really unnecessary for the type of game that it is. And Lancelot rounds us out to 115. He's trying to bait and tee somebody up for a 10 bomb to 125. Thank you, Lancelot. Yeah, so I thought the first one was good and could have been great, and then I feel like in the second one they wanted to make it great, but it's still just good. It's a good game, I give it a solid score, but I definitely get to the end of those games and I don't want to go do all the side quests because The rolling seems better. I still think rolling should give you iframes because they set up the fight sometimes in really stupid ways to where if you're not perfectly positioned, your roll is going to not go far enough and you're going to get hit. So there are times where you get caught in a stun lock because and this is just part of the learning experience, you genuinely want to stay close to like every boss. You want to stay like right on them. So if they go to do an attack, you can like roll behind them. So you're completely out of the way. I don't like the way rolling works in the game. Right. If it was iframes, the boss fights would actually feel really fun because you could play a little bit more free and aggressive. Instead, I feel like I'm having to chip everyone down. It's like hit. Okay, I have to wait. Okay, here they come. Okay, I'm going to roll behind them. So instead of like actively reading a telegraph and then timing your roll through the attack, you just know, okay, he's going to do a dash. I can't get out of the way of the dash, so I've got to be close to him so I can roll behind him, and then he basically dashes at nobody. Like 9 times out of 10, that's the solution in Tales of Iron. Instead of seeing the telegraph and timing your roll to not take damage, you just memorize when they're going to do certain things, and you just stay close and roll behind them. I think it hurts the combat system. Yeah. I think it hurts the combat system. So, anyways, we're well off course, and I'm not sure what's going on, but with I don't know if YouTube's acting up or if it's the change of subject, but the question queue has been cleared. If you guys want to submit questions, Joker Quinn has already done this to kind of show you guys what this looks like, and he says, with PC continuing to grow, do you ever see console... What was that? I have a book leaning against the glass. I found out what's rattling on my case. It's literally the glass itself. Chat keeps bugging out. Yeah, I could tell that something was wrong. I was like, chat just keeps coming to a dead stop, and we just keep losing large chunks of viewers. I was assuming YouTube was having a problem again. It started about 20 minutes ago, and I was like, that's unusual. That's like really early in the stream. Small piece of tape. It might just need tightened. I don't know. I don't know. So I literally took a heavy book and like leaned it against the case, and it went away. It was driving me crazy. I was like, that rattle's going to drive me dadgum crazy. It's just like this. Like anytime the fans spin up, and I'm like, well, that's freaking annoying. And I leaned a book against it, and it went away. And the book just fell. I think it's because I bumped the desk. Anyways, back to this question. With PCs continue to grow, do you see consoles going away? The reason I don't think you're going to see consoles go away, and this is something that a lot of people are... I think people are once again just going too far and too full, right? I think a lot of people are hedging their bets, and they're almost like they're anticipating a level of exodus from Xbox. And so now they're starting to run with the narrative of, well, consoles are over, or, well, you know, the real company that won the console war is Nintendo. There's just this weird anti-Sony mentality out there where exclusives are bad unless Nintendo does it. Consoles are dead, but Nintendo is king of consoles. Consoles are going away, but, you know, Nintendo's about to take over. PC is better. It's just like, I don't know. I don't feel like a lot of people come from a place of authenticity and conviction. I feel like they just choose a narrative. They like choose like a prior commitment, and then they try to sort of squeeze the industry into that narrative. They try to force it into this box of like, well, because this happened with my favorite platform, then everything else is going to do the same thing. Okay. They're just going to continue to get things wrong as they did in the lead up to this. Right? They were consistently wrong for the last 3 to 4 years. A lot of these people were absolutely 100% dead wrong. But now we're supposed to be like, oh, but now you're right. Now you've got a beat on the market in the industry. Now you know what's going to happen. And it conveniently is what Phil Spencer has said. Do you see the problem with it? It's like, so you were wrong for 2 to 3 years, just consistently wrong. Completely missing the mark, completely misreading the tea leaves, completely ignoring what the CFO of Xbox said, completely ignoring what Satya said, plugging your ears and putting your head in the sand. You were wrong for all those years. Oh, but now you've got it figured out. And you just so happened to have figured out that the future of the industry perfectly lines up with what Phil Spencer has said. It's a truly dizzying logical display of reason. Like, you really reasoned yourself into this position. That's why it immediately doesn't pass a smell test. It immediately stinks and smells funny. It's like, this just smells like astroturfing to me. You cheered for the brand for the last 4 years, got everything wrong, and when they pivot and change and they change course, now all of a sudden you're like, well, no, now I've got it figured out. I was dead wrong for 3 or 4 years in a row, but now I've got it figured out. And my prediction about the industry just so happens to be lock in step with the marketing talking points of Phil Spencer. Okay. Playing Sniper Resistance? No, that's not my kind of game. So to me, the I knew it, it's coming meme is quite literally a microcosm of what they do. No, PlayStation, and then it happens and it's, I knew it, it's coming, I knew it. It's like, that quite right there is a microcosm of everything that's happened the last 3 years. It's, we're just going to keep saying A, B, and C, A, B, and C, A, B, and C. Oh, we were completely wrong. It's no longer A, B, and C. It's X, Y, Z. It's X, Y, Z. And it's like, oh, okay. You know what would happen if Phil Spencer came out tomorrow and said, we're doubling down on hardware, we're doubling down on power, we're doubling down on exclusives? Do you know what they would say? They would flip to that being what's important, that's what matters. They would just get right in line. They'd be like, man, that's a little bit of whiplash, but, thank goodness Phil came to his senses. This is what I've always thought. And they'd be like, see all the stuff I said, in 2021 and 2022? You see? They would just switch. It's just like, okay. Yeah, I was affected by the outage. I couldn't use my PlayStation Portal on vacation. It was a freaking paperweight. It was a paperweight. You know why? Phil's the only one that talks as much as he does. Out of the 3 major console manufacturers, that paints him as the de facto speaker for all, which he isn't. Yo, it's good, Corey. That's actually a pretty good observation, High on Life. That's not a bad observation. He consistently speaks in to the silence in the market, and people just assume, well, then he's the authority. Like, Nintendo and PlayStation aren't coming out here and doing these types of interviews. You don't see Herman Holst or anybody from Nintendo sitting down and doing these interviews. So if they're not talking and he is talking, yeah, it becomes the default narrative of like, well, then that clearly is what's going on. That clearly is where everything's headed. He said it. Nobody else is saying anything. Here's the deal. They are. You just have to listen to the earnings calls and the shareholders' calls. Hiroki Totoki has said plenty, and so has Herman Holst. And just like when they ignored what the CFO said and what Satya said, they ignore those statements as well. Or just like what they did with the CFO and Satya's statements, they try to twist them and misrepresent them. The same thing's going on with those statements as well. You shouldn't be worried about the loudmouth at the bar, but the quiet guy in the corner. That's what I'm talking. That's right. Imagine Herman Holst talking to J-Dub. That's what goes on in the Xbox community. It's not that extreme, you know. No shade to J-Dub. It's not that extreme, but it does kind of feel that way sometimes, Garrett. Another question here from Mikey Bot. This is something you guys can do as a member. You can have your question featured. If you consider supporting the channel directly, hit join, but make sure you pick Member Plus. It's the $6 membership, and it gets you into all the extra content, and it opens up features like this. You can talk in my chat totally for free, but your question can be featured. And MikeyBot says, do you see the users having issues using their disk drive attachments for digital PS5 during the PSN outage, giving them an error saying to register the drive? This is one of two things. It's somebody that just never set it up and unfortunately tried to set it up during the outage. Or it's people using screenshots to claim that they can't do it. I don't know how many people are in that funnel of players. So they have a PlayStation 5, they have a PlayStation 5 disk drive, and for whatever reason, they've never attached it and registered it. I don't understand. Eugene says, it was that extreme. Colt and Tim Dog getting taken out to eat. Yeah, I'm just not trying to hurl any or sling any mud here. I would say that yes, there's a level of silliness there that yeah, it does seem a little strange. Yeah, but I don't know why people were waiting that long to hook up their disk drives. AOZ says it's all BS. All these people decided to unbox their external Blu-ray drives on the weekend. That's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if there were actual people that went to the store and that got home and were like, what the frick, why can't I do this? But it couldn't have been that many people, for crying out loud. I mean, how many people in that window of time just happened to be that unlucky? Now, I was unlucky. I literally had my friend come to my house and check to make sure that my PlayStations were in standby because I couldn't get it to work. And then he gets it all up and running and fixed for me. And then the network's down, so I can't even test it. I was going to test it with him in my house. I was going to test it with him in my house and show him, like, yeah, that's me controlling the PlayStation, but the PlayStation Network is down. Like, that certainly is something that can happen. You can be that unlucky. Like, at the exact moment you go to try to do something. I bet if you checked your picture, it would be an older pic from the internet. I don't know what you're talking about, Dave. I was playing my digital version of Hogwarts Legacy during the outage. You just need to be on an active PS5 and had it downloaded. You also have to have on the home PS5 feature. You have to have that turned on. You have to be able to play games offline or with other accounts. That's why you run RAID in a backup? Huh? Remember, a lot of the disk drives have been out of stock until the last 2 weeks or so. What games are going to utilize Switch 2 mice? I have no idea. Yeah, you have to set it as your primary console. Apparently, it asks you that when you first turn it on. I feel like it should just have that on automatically. And if you opt out or switch, then, yeah, I feel like it should just automatically be on. Jake says, play what? The network was down. What are you going to play? Even if you have the disc, what games these days allowed for offline play on the PlayStation? Virtually all single-player games, Jake. That's how many games? Every single-player game, as long as you have your PlayStation 5 set as the primary, you can play offline. My kids do it every weekend, brother. My son is playing Hogwarts Legacy on my account. And then I play on my portal. Well, guess what? He's playing on my account and so am I. I have him playing on a PlayStation that's not plugged into the Ethernet so that we can get away with it, basically. I need to step back and remember single-player games exist. It's PlayStation after all, Jake. Returnal, Ratchet & Clank, Demon Souls, Horizon, God of War, Gran Turismo, Spider-Man, Astrobot, Stellar Blade, Rise of the Ronin, like all those games, the TLU remasters and remakes, all those games run perfectly fine. My kids, again, every weekend playing Hogwarts Legacy. I literally set him up as the primary, and then I unplug the Ethernet cable before I open a game, and I'm good to go. Yeah, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is taking the world by storm as a single-player game. It's crushing it right now. It's doing very well. Yeah, they're going to extend the Monster Hunter Wilds beta because of the outage. I think did they officially announce that? I think they did. You played Lords of the Fallen all weekend, guys. I'm gonna have to take a quick break. I gotta take a real quick break. Do me a favor, smash the like button, get us to 400 likes. I'm gonna hit some ads. This is the only time I hit ads. When I get back, we'll keep taking your questions for Q&A. And we're going to want to try and almost double this week's goal because we took a week off last week. So keep it coming. Get those renewals. Those count. They help. Get those upgrades going. Bump up to Member Plus. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Corey says, that moment when the cat backfires? What do you mean, what cat backfired? Kingdom Come 2 made back its money in one day. Yeah. They did. Yeah, it's doing really well, dude. You know? All right, let's take another question here. Stone Spire says, concerning Avowed, now that there's confirmation of different modes of play, including 60 FPS, do you think this will help bring more player engagement for the game? I mean, I don't know how much it would be hurt other than if you're like me and you don't like playing 30 FPS games. I would imagine a lot of people would boot up on Game Pass, play for maybe an hour, and be like, it doesn't feel good. You know? Did you know that Dungeons of Hinterberg is coming to PlayStation 5? I feel like I knew that. I feel like we knew Dungeons of Hinterberg was a timed exclusive. Wasn't it a year? I might be thinking of a different game, but I feel like I knew that. I feel like I knew it was a timed exclusive. Kingdom Come 2 looks great. Just wish they had a normal save system. Alfie, I swear to you, it's going to be one of the most downloaded mods on PC for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. It is 100% going to end up being the most downloaded mod again for that game. I don't understand. I would love for them to do an interview and explain to me how they think it's like, how do you think it's gameplay enhancing? You know? How do you think it's gameplay enhancing? What exactly do you think this is adding to the experience for the user? You know, I'm gonna go through here and just heart all the people commenting on the GTA 6 poll, just so that they get out of my feed. If you guys haven't taken the GTA 6 delay poll, let's see how many votes it has now. Already 1,000 votes. That's awesome. Will the GTA 6 release date land in fall 2025 or get delayed? Yeah, that God of War, for whatever reason, that God of War poll has 9,000 votes on it. Jiminy Christmas. Getting the save potions is not hard. I stole or made 60. What? You stole or made 60? How long did it take you to do that? And Dante signs up for Member Plus. That counts as 2. Right? Oops, wait, hang on. I said 2 and typed 2. I meant to type 7. There we go. Thank you so much. We are working on a really big goal for Member Plus and above. And when you guys sign up for a Member Plus or a VIP, or you upgrade to Member Plus or VIP, I count that as 2. Thank you so much, Dante. Because it's an RPG, choice is a big deal, and going forward with the consequences of those choices is part of the experience, good or bad choices. Okay, let me explain to you why you're wrong, Lancelot. I can make a bunch of choices in conversations and make a choice in another conversation, and if it goes south and I don't like the direction that it went, I just die. And it reverses everything. It's like it didn't happen. So, to me, it's antithetical to consequences. I spent an hour in the first town. I talked to people, learned information, made choices in the dialogue that might make somebody like me, dislike me, or ask me for favors or not. And then it all got undone. I lost an hour. I had to redo all of it. It removed consequence. It removed choice. I walked out of the town, got attacked by wolves, and was like, well, I guess I need to do all that again. I need to go have all of those exact same conversations again because you don't let me save it like a normal game. It'd be one thing if they auto-saved every choice. Right. It's like you don't make me you don't make me stick to my choices or my conversational dialogue options that I selected. An autosave feature that can't be manually overwritten would be totally immersive. Yeah, that would be more like a consequence being forced on you. Yo, thank you so much, JGamer UK with 18 months of memberships. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 on PS5, you can just save and exit to the menu anytime. Yeah. I don't want to do that. Don't you see? I'm right. The fact that it's one of the most downloaded mods on PC and the fact that you can do it anyway. There's a way to do it. Why not just let me do it? It seems so dumb. Biggest GTA fan here. Poll never popped up. I just pushed it out this morning, Christopher Burnett. It's generous with autosaves in quests. No, in quests, that is true. If the quest says, go to the town and talk to Steve, and Steve says, hey, you actually need to go down to the docks, and now your quest says go down to the docks, it saves it when he tells you that. It does. Be honest, I would mod it out if I could. Exactly, Tycho. If I could get the free save mod on PlayStation, I would be playing that game right now. It's the main reason I'm not playing. It's the main reason I'm not playing. I could eat around some of the frustrations with combat because I know the combat gets better. You get stronger. You go and train with the guy and you get better gear and you get better at it, right? I know all that. The fact that people sing the game's praises and they're like, yeah, consequences of your choices, it's a really deep and awesome RPG, but then you literally have to experience Groundhog's Day if you don't save it, and then you go out into the world and die, and you're like, well, I got to redo everything now. You can exit and save. You're proving the point. You're proving the point. The game lets you do it. They just make it really inconvenient. They just make it inconvenient. It's like, well, yeah, you can save anytime you want, but you have to leave the game and then come back in. Oh, for frick's sake, just let me do it then. I tell you what they should do. They should incentivize utilizing the savior schnapps and the beds and everything else. They should incentivize it. And if you utilize those save systems, there's benefits that come from it. If I just save whenever I want, maybe I sacrifice those benefits. You know what I mean? Come up with a reason to do it, to be like, well, yeah, this is why you should do it. And if you don't like it or you don't care about it, you just do it. Yeah, arrested bonus, something like that. Well, they kind of do that anyway, Zuby. You can like drink a potion before you sleep. They kind of do some of that. I played Ninja Gaiden Black, and I didn't like it. I played for like 10 minutes, and I was like, the camera immediately annoyed me. I was button mashing my way through the enemies. I was like, yeah, this looks kind of cool. And then I was like, this camera's going to make me lose my dadgum mind. And I watched some people playing it further in the game. Somebody was putting like highlights in our Discord, and I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get down with this, you know. I've instead played a bunch of other games. I played both the Tales of Iron games. I played Plague Tale Requiem, Space Marine 2, Kena Bridge of Spirits. Like I'm working my way through the backlog, and I just was like, dude, this camera's gonna drive me nuts. You can make more powerful save potions that give you buffs. I don't know. I found various ways to make money. I don't know what you're set with, but I haven't had any issues. I've killed many people, stole items. You can buy the save potion quite easily. I ended up with like 7 or 8 ADJC. I ended up with like 7 or 8. And I slept in the one inn, and you can steal a bunch of stuff from him and get set up pretty nicely with some gear, and then probably go sell some of it and make some coin there as well. I don't know. It's like such a rough edge. It's hard. I can't get into gear. It's just such a rough edge. I just want to go quest and talk to people and not have to constantly feel like I'm fighting with the saving system. It doesn't feel gameplay enhancing. It doesn't. well, you got to do this, you got to do that, and you got to make a bunch of money, and then you can buy a bunch of the potions, and that's how you get around it. And it's like, but I don't want to do all of that. I just want to play the video game. You're making me play another game before I play your game. Use those 300 points on stash tabs. Is there any more news about Xbox games coming to PlayStation? No. No more rumors or whispers from the insiders. It all went quiet. It all went quiet after the after that Helldiver. No, I'm sorry. After that Halo stream, it all went quiet. Sworn looks like it's doing pretty good. The 1 to 4 player co-op game that looks like Hades. It's in early access on Steam. 87%. That's good for early access. Unlike some other early access games we've seen recently. I'm with you, says Furious Impulse. If a game makes it hard to save or pause, I feel a level of hate that I probably shouldn't. Isn't there some kind of endless save wench that you could romance? I don't know. This is the Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 player base. Cry skill issue at valid criticism. Well, what's funny is they'll say skill issue, but then the saving mod for Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 has like 1.5 million downloads. But sure, yeah, it's a skill issue. Over 1 million people downloaded the dadgum mod to save anytime they want. It's not a skill issue. It isn't. I already adapted to it. It didn't. What, you think it was hard? It wasn't hard to steal stuff and sell it and buy the potions. Like, ooh, you're a hardcore gamer, bro. You should be out here streaming guides. You know, you're as good as Let Me Solo Her. You know, you stole stuff in an RPG and sold it, made money, and bought an item. Wow. You're really good. There's no skill involved at all. Like, there's skill involved in the combat for sure. But in the saving, it's like, it's just tedious. It's just tedious. I can go pick 1,000 flowers, kill a couple animals, and sell it all to a local person and have enough to buy the Savior Schnapps. Like, there's no skill expression in that. It's pure tedium. You're really good at time sinks. In Kingdom Come Deliverance, you die, you restart. No, they just make it to where you can't save at will without investing time in having this thing called Savior Schnapps. It's a drink in the game. You go to save it in the menu, and it's like you use a Savior Schnapps to do that. So let's say you clear this town and you're ready to embark out on an adventure. You're like, well, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to run around, right? Well, you save it. You use Savior Schnapps. So let's say you have 4 or 5. I had like 7 of them. Well, you know, you wander out and you die. And you're like, okay, so there's some guys around the corner there. I now know to avoid them. Cool. So you avoid them. You get a little bit further into the forest. But now you're like, I could get attacked by wolves or a bear or whatever the frick. Let me save it again. Well, now you just lost another Savior Schnapps, right? Or you could roll the dice. And you could just wander around in that forest, and you could spend 30, 40 minutes or more going around, picking flowers. Maybe you kill a couple wolves and survive. Maybe you kill a couple bandits and survive, and now you've got some stuff, but now you've lost some health and you're weak, and somebody kills you or something kills you. You just lost all that progress. You lost all of that progress. Now you've done nothing. You haven't picked flowers. You haven't killed those wolves or those bandits. You're right back where you last saved it. And to me, remove the save element. Just remove it for just a second and track with me here. Just remove the save element. It's a perfectly good experience still. It's still punishing. You still can get jumped and die. You can still have consequences for your actions if you steal, if you lie, if you if you sneak into an area and get caught. All of those consequences are still well in place. Now, obviously, you could save scum, and you could be like, well, I'm going to break into this place. Oh, I got caught. Let me reload my save. Oh, I got caught. Let me reload my save. You could do the same thing with Save Your Schnapps. In the first game, I lost an hour because of a crash. I didn't even die. Another perfect example. Like, imagine something as simple as that happens, like a crash. Save Your Schnapps also cannot be used during dialogue like Baldur's Gate, KOTOR, Skyrim, ECT, the best RPGs to exist. Right, I'm fine with that. If you do, who was it? Tycho? Tycho in chat said they've got like 70 Save Your Schnapps. They can save scum to their heart's content. They can, I'm going to break into this guy's hotel, or I'm sorry, his inn or his barn and try to steal all of his stuff, and I'm going to save it right before I do it. You can save scum if you have enough of the Save Your Schnapps anyway. You're not preventing people from save scumming. So it's an unnecessary rough edge. It doesn't add to the experience. Nobody's like, oh no, it really makes you value your choices. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Because you could totally invest in what other people have done, get a ton of money, buy a bunch of Save Your Schnapps, and then you can always reload your save if something doesn't go your way. I actually quit the first game after a very inconvenient crash. I lost so much time and just gave up. Right, like, it is soul crushing. It is soul crushing to lose an hour, 2 hours, or sometimes more. Who knows? Maybe you would just, because like quite literally, if you take your time in a town and you're doing all the dialogue and you're talking to all the people and you're doing little side quests here and there, that can take hours and it doesn't save. Unless you tell it to, unless you sleep or you use a schnapps or you advance a quest with a person. Like you advance a quest and the thing tells you to do something new. They do autosave a bit better this game, but yeah, some new players might get frustrated. I get it. I'm just saying it's a non-issue or a deal breaker, really. It's a deal breaker for me. I'm not playing, and that's why. If they push out a patch tomorrow and they said, hey guys, we've heard your feedback. We've decided to do some rested XP and gold earn rate buffs if you use Save Your Schnapps or the other traditional saving methods. But if you turn on autosave, the game's going to automatically save every 10 minutes because, we acknowledge game crashes happen, life happens, and people are losing progress, and we don't think that's conducive. If they did that, I'd jump right back in tomorrow and I'd start playing. I wouldn't hesitate. If they let me get the save mod on PS5, I'd be playing tonight. I'd be right back in there playing. You liking Tales of Iron 2 easier than the first one or no? There's elements that make it easier. There's a lot of depth. There's also a lot of choices that they made that I'm not super fond of. I think both Tales of Iron 1 and 2 are good games that could be great. I feel like they tried to make the game great with the second one, but the depth that they added can be cumbersome and tedious, and the whetstone thing is dumb. There's some elements to the second game that I find strange. I'm not quite sure what they were thinking. But I did like it. I liked both. I liked both Tales 1 and 2. I made you chase a boss. It made more sense later in the game, Kingslayer, because they wanted there to be bigger and harder boss fights. So you get the boss down a fourth of its health and it runs. Well, that's basically a checkpoint. So now if you go fight him and die, you don't have to do that first part of the fight ever again. Have you used the save and exit feature? I recently joined stream and haven't heard. The save and exit feature proves me correct. It proves me correct. You can do it. It's just super inconvenient. Yeah, Tales of Iron's the Redwall looking game. Yeah, you're like a mouse. Yeah. Yeah, so the first couple of times they did it, Kingslayer, I was like, why are you making me chase the boss? Because they were easier fights. You get to some of those later fights and you're kind of thankful for it because, you get down to that last fourth of their health bar and you die and you don't have to start all the way over. You just go to where they are and they only have a quarter of their health bar. So it ends up making sense the further you get in the game. The first couple times they did it, I'm like, what are you doing? It's not like Monhun where you follow them. It's a side scroller. So you literally end up fast traveling to another place on the map and you're just like, oh, here they are. The first game was in an abysmal technical state at launch. No surprise that people quit it when it paired with such a saving system. Yeah, like, Madam has been playing it on PC for you guys, and I feel like it is a lot easier on the player. Like, it does. It eases you in quite a bit better, I think. The second game doesn't do a good job of kind of like easing you into the systems. It is it's a little bit more punishing. It is. Warden's Will has slowly improved their score. It's that Risk of Rain co-op rogue. It looks a little bit like Risk of Rain, but it's like a bullet hell shooter. It's bumped up to like a 76. When it first launched, it was rough. I missed the first part. So I was asking because I only use save and exit at specific times, of course, but I think I've been playing it that way. It wants me to. I've never played Kingdom Come Deliverance 1. Yeah, the fact that you can do that, to me, it proves the point that it's not necessary. It is not necessary. Can you translate this post for me? Why does it not consistently translate? Shift Up, a South Korean game developer, is optimizing Stellar Blade for better performance on PC, particularly on Steam Deck, as part of their strategy to enhance the game's reception in Asia. Okay, Ecstasis says that's what they're working on. I had to use Grok. It didn't automatically give me an interpretation, or I'm sorry, a translation. Sorry, then I agree with you. I was just trying to understand the point. No, you're totally fine. You're totally fine, Marvel Rivals. That's been my contention since day one. My contention since day one is that it's a really, really good game that works really, really hard to make me not like it. It's like at every turn they want it to be almost like, and at some level I respect it. They're like, suck it up, Cupcake. That's the way that our game is. But my pushback is, well, it's pretty flimsy. It's pretty flimsy, if I'm honest. If you can save and exit anytime you want, or if you can go through the tedium of making 70 or buying 70 some odd potions and completely invalidate the system, because once you get, there's a tipping point, right? Track with me. There's a tipping point. So Tycho took all that time and now has like 70 save potions, so they can constantly save it. And when they get down into like the 20s, they can probably just go to town and buy back up again because they've been playing efficiently and well, and they probably have plenty of money. So there's a tipping point where the pain point just gets eroded entirely, which means it then it gets invalidated and it's no longer existent. So all it really does is make it slow, tough, and unenjoyable for a newer player or a less experienced player. Ecstasis is now reporting that the state of play will be on the 13th of February. A known Chinese leaker has hinted that the PlayStation State of Play event is scheduled for the 13th of February. The term hypnotic soprano, it led to speculation about announcements about maybe God of War or Parasite Eve. I do think it asks so much from the player, and it's like a dance, but a good majority of gamers honestly have no time for that kind of game and have no interest in that sort of mechanic. Well, it's crushing on Steam. So it clearly it's not a problem for their market reception. It's not a problem for their market reception. I'm going to try something. Let me try something here. Source. Ecstasis. Copy. Edit. And we'll go square. For if it's not going to consistently translate, we can use Grok to translate and then tweet stuff like that out. Studio knows how to budget. It's already making bank. Yeah. Kingdom Come Deliverance is crushing. It's crushing. It is a fantastic game. That's my thing. My criticism is the save system. It just seems completely unnecessary. It's just like, man, I wish you guys wouldn't have done that. Like, my wife was enjoying watching me play the game. She kept asking, like, oh, are you going to play Belladonna tonight? That's what she called the game, Belladonna. Because I spent 2 hours looking for Belladonna one night. Do you think since it's on Steam, the save mod etc could be why so many are there? No, there's a save mod on Steam. Yep. Yeah, there's a save mod on Steam already. It was one of the first ones rolled out. It's got the save mod for the first game has like 1.2 million downloads or something. The save system did make me try out Alchemy, which is nice, improving to Henry Potions. Yeah, Alchemy's really fun, actually. I liked it as a little mini game, but when you're trying to make the save your schnapps, you need Belladonna, and it's like you can't find it anywhere. What's wrong with the save system when you exit and save? And if you have money, you can buy as many save schnapps as you want. Yeah, the problem with that is it's not a system that enhances the gameplay. It creates this massive flat tire of tedium that once you get above that, it's no longer a part of the game. As soon as you get to the point where money's not an issue for you, and you can buy as many as you want, it invalidates the existence of the system. So why is it there to begin with? What's the point? Does the save mod break achievements? I don't think so. If they have mods on Bethesda games for PlayStation and Xbox, why can't they give mods for other games on consoles? I'm telling you, I'd jump right back in. I would jump right back in. I would boot that game up tonight. I'd be like, babe, we're taking a break from Big Helmet Heroes. It's not that great to begin with. It was fun, but it was mindless. We're going back to Belladonna. That's the first thing I would do. The save mod for Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 already has over 120,000. Yeah, it'll continue to climb. When you're weak, it's hard to save, and when you're strong, it's easy. It's actually true. The first half of Kingdom Come Deliverance was the best experience. After that, it gets predictable and tedious. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 seems to have the same issue based on some reviews. I don't know if I saw any reviews saying that it gets tedious later on. The combat in Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 is also much better once you unlock Master Strike. Yeah, I mean, I didn't even get a chance to sort of get into those. I didn't get a chance to get into any of that. So, Hollow Judgment says, thoughts on the compensation for the PSN outage? I think it's fine, but I saw a lot of non-PS Plus members mad they were not compensated in some way. I mean, I have a really hard time getting on that wavelength of like, hey, I couldn't play video games for a day. You owe me money or stuff. I don't know. If they're not paying for the service, what compensation are they entitled to? Well, I think their frustration would be, Eugene, that, hey, I know I'm not paying for your service, but your service going down disrupted my ability to do anything. This goes back to the home PlayStation should just be turned on by default. It should not be opt-in. It should just be on by default. When you set up your PlayStation 5 the very first time, boom. It should literally just be like, this is your home PlayStation, unless otherwise denoted. And then they would have been able to play offline. But a lot of people couldn't play offline because they either didn't understand that option when they were turning their PlayStation on, or they clicked through it and didn't do it. And then they're stuck. And it's like, well, I don't play for the PlayStation Plus. I don't play for the network. And they can't play single-player games. I don't think they're entitled to anything. I don't think they're entitled to payment. But I could see somebody being frustrated by like, I don't even pay for your service, and your service went down, and I couldn't play. I couldn't play my single-player games. And again, that comes back to the fact that there shouldn't have even been an issue there. Those things should have been on automatically. Anybody that sets up a PlayStation, that 100% should be your home PlayStation by default. You should not have to go in and turn it on. You shouldn't have to answer a question about, well, do you want this to be your home? Do. You might read it and be like, I don't understand what that means. And you might click through and be like, yeah, I don't want that. It should just be on by default. It shouldn't be opt-in. Now, if you want to switch it, obviously, that's an issue. If you've got multiple PlayStations and the one with all the games downloaded, and then you get a new one and you make it the home one and it doesn't have any games downloaded, well, you would have been SOL. That's their fault for not reading it. Right, but in the realm of business relationships with the consumer, erring on the side of the consumer being, inattentive or dumb is a good idea, because a lot of the times we are inattentive and dumb. We just want to get in and play the games. Like, just let me in. We all do it. We all click through the thing to get to the good stuff. We all do it. You don't read those EULAs. You don't read those terms of service agreements. You just click through them, right? And when you're setting up a PlayStation, it stands to reason that a lot of people just clicked right through that. And they're like, no. I'll do that later. It should just be on by default. Why would it not be on by default? Why? You're either brand new to PlayStation or switching from PS4, or you're adding a PlayStation to your home gaming experience, right? Maybe you've got a PC or an Xbox or whatever. In all those situations, it should just be on by default. They gave people 5 days of PS Plus. Yeah, that's nothing. I don't need compensation. You want to know why they shouldn't do compensation? Because it opens up a discussion for like, well, did we get compensated enough? Just be like, yep, sorry, downtime happens. There was a problem. We fixed it. It's back up and running. And then you stop talking. It was about people who aren't paying wanting compensation. Okay, they're owed nothing as well. If you're not paying into the service, why would you get compensated for the service? Like what? The original question, Eugene is right. The original question was like, there are people that aren't even paying into it complaining. Yeah, these people are stupid. But to the rest who were like, I pay and that's not enough. This is why you don't give compensation. I don't think you give compensation. You're just like, yeah, it was down. Sorry, it was down. It's back up. PS Plus users are entitled credit for downtime. Internet companies will do if you complain. Yeah, credit for downtime I think is fine. I think you would just make that a standard practice anytime there's downtime. You just say, if there's downtime, you'll be compensated the number of days that it's down. And then that's the end of the discussion. $5 days for 1 day of downtime is fair. Well, and 5 days doesn't cost them anything. It's not like people are going to get 5 days and they're all going to rush out and they're going to be like, yep, we're living high on the hog now. I'm going to cancel my PS Plus. Wanting something from a service that you're not paying into is just ridiculous. Again, I'm trying to see it from the best light. If you're not paying for it and it disrupted your ability to play games because you don't understand how it works, I understand why that person's frustrated. The answer to that person is not, well, don't be stupid, have your PlayStation set up right. You know, they clearly didn't. They misunderstood, or they clicked through that option when they first set up their PlayStation. Offer them 1 month free if they buy 6 months. I renewed the day before the outage, lucky me. Same time I accidentally added an extra month. I didn't want, so I canceled that month, but hope it still applies to 5 days. It should. It'll just add it on to whatever you currently have prorated as far as like how many days you're going to get. How difficult is this for them to post a PSA on avoiding that issue? I mean, they could certainly send a message to everybody and say, hey, you may want to check this setting. In the event that your internet or the PSN ever goes down, this will allow you to play, non-online games without the network or without your internet. You know, some consumer education might be in order. Because clearly, people didn't know that you could do that. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't know until you guys told me how to set it up because I had multiple PlayStations. So if I was John Q. Public and didn't have streams and people to tell me and I didn't have multiple PlayStations, I might have been like, I don't understand why I can't play my single player game, because I might have done the same thing. I might have clicked through that option and been like, oh, I don't need to do that right now. That's not important. I'm not doing any game sharing. Do you think people will read a PSA? If you get a message from PlayStation saying, sorry for the recent inconvenience, we're crediting people this much, and you may want to check this setting to ensure you can play games offline during any internet or network disruptions. I think a lot of people would go and check the setting and be like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. Guys on screen when setting up a PlayStation. I don't know what else they can do. Again, you got to assume people are dumb. You shouldn't have to opt into a feature like that. My personal opinion on this is always that you err on the side of the consumer's not paying attention. You just have to err on the side of they're not paying attention. So it should just be automatically turned on by default. And then if you get a new PlayStation, sure, you've got to navigate that and educate yourself on what you do. But the average person doesn't feel like, well, wait, I guess I didn't turn that feature on, or I should have, because, again, they're probably thinking these are single-player games. Why would I need to turn a feature on? Again, you have to think like the consumer. The consumer is thinking, well, there are plenty of games that don't require an internet connection. I really like single-player games. They're not going to think the only way I have access to those games if the internet goes down or if the PlayStation Network goes down is I have to go into the menus and turn a setting on because I didn't turn it on at launch when I got the thing. I understand the opt-in because you may not want someone messing up their current setup with a new console. That's true. Yeah. That would be really irritating if every time I got a new console, it messed up the way I have everything set up here at the house. I would think that you could, again, do it. You could get away with it by saying, this is the first PlayStation 5 we've ever seen set up on your account. We're going to turn this feature on by default. And here's why we're turning it on by default. It gives you all these benefits. You know, something like that. It's just my feedback on it. I tell you what we'll do. I'm going to call it at I'm going to call it at 1:30, and we'll go to the green room. You guys can extend. If we hit 150 on the member count, I'll extend. I've been doing that lately, letting you guys push the stream longer. If you renew gift members or sign up brand new, you can make the streams last longer. I've been letting you guys do that. It's been really, really fun. Strong start to the week already. If you haven't hit like yet, do that for me. Let's get to 400 likes. We can keep talking for the next 20 minutes. You can submit questions. The question queue has been cleared, so you'll be at the top of the queue now if you submit any questions. Part of the draw of the console is that it's just plug and play. Features that offer full access should be on by default. That's my view of it, yes. That's my view of it. They should say, this is the first PlayStation 5 we've seen set up with your account. We are going to designate this as your home PlayStation 5 so that you can play games offline or with other accounts. If you want to turn this off, you can, but this is a big benefit to you. Allowing consumers to click through that, not read it, not see it, or not turn that on, and then they're subject to not being able to play single-player games because of an outage, right? That's setting people up for frustration, in my opinion. I think it's just a loud minority asking for compensation. There are certainly going to be people that are, screaming about these sorts of things more loudly than others. This is true. But I also think I'm looking at John Q. Public, I'm thinking of the average person. I'm thinking of my nephews, right? Did they have it properly set up? I don't know. I don't know if they have it properly set up. An outage like that could have completely knocked them out of commission. Oh, let's see. We got a question here from Sneaky Wolf. Is there a state of play from PlayStation? Oh, if there is, what do you expect to see? I would imagine a heavy emphasis on Ghost of Yotei gameplay or a release date. Although the difficulty there would be it might be a little early. Because of Grand Theft Auto 6. A Gears of War announcement? I don't know. What's the Bloodborne situation? For some reason, Sony is issuing a bunch of DMCA takedowns to all of the Bloodborne fan projects. Bloodborne DMake, Bloodborne 60 FPS thing, a Bloodborne kart racer or something. All these weird fan projects are out of nowhere getting DMCA takedown requests, and so people are suspecting that that might have something to do with the fact that maybe they got Bloodborne in the pipeline, I expect a Yotei release date and probably Death Stranding. You also have to remember they like to save some of the bigger stuff for the summer. So, yeah. Guys, make sure you're smashing the like button. We're super close to 400 likes. You guys have crushed it today on the like count. Remember what they did with Spider-Man 2, right? They finally showed up with Spider-Man 2 at the summer showcase, and they showed 20 minutes of gameplay. So, I don't know if they're going to treat Yotei the same way. We don't have a release window for Yotei. I thought Yotei would be first half and Death Stranding 2 would be second half. Yeah, and Kojima seems to be teasing a new trailer. So maybe a new trailer from Death Stranding 2 and maybe some good gameplay of Yotei in a release date so that Yotei can land in the summer, and then Death Stranding 2 will get a bigger push in the summer with a release date. Because that's likely set. I feel like Death Stranding 2 is second half, and they'll wait longer on that one because you're going to want the GTA 6 release date to be known before you say anything. So, calling it now something Bloodborne for the state of play. It's been 10 years. It is interesting that on the eve of what we're hearing is an incoming state of play, as well as the 10-year anniversary of Bloodborne, which is next month. It does seem interesting that they're slapping down all these fan-made things. So I could see them doing a 10-year anniversary edition of the game that's been updated for, PS5 Pro enhancements, like a director's cut, kind of a remaster kind of a thing. But the problem with that is everything we've learned and everything we've kind of read is that, getting Bloodborne to 60 would require it to be basically remade. But then the modding community has shown that maybe that's not the case, that maybe you could get it up to 60 and tweak and fix a lot of the issues and problems. I know they ran into this issue with Horizon Zero Dawn on PC. It was like they bumped the frame rate and it caused all kind of strangeness and all these strange oddities, because even the animation sets of the clothes and everything were not set for 60. So maybe they figured out how to smooth all that over. I don't know. It seemed like a lot of people were under the impression that you'd have to remake the entire game. They could just steal that work that the modders did. They solved the physics being tied to 30. Sony could easily handle it from there. This is true. Bluepoint's not busy anymore. This is also true. I'd not be surprised at all if Xbox are helping with the showcase, with it mainly being Xbox games and saying more to follow to get more people used to the idea. Why in the world would PlayStation do that with a state of play, though? I don't think PlayStation would use their own state of play to basically be like, well, let's get people accustomed to the idea of like Xbox games being everywhere now. I mean, they've had plenty of time to include Hi-Fi Rush or Sea of Thieves or Indiana Jones. Like, they've had plenty of time to include those games in their own stuff, and they haven't done it. I don't think they're just going to suddenly do that. Now, Doom the Dark Ages, I think, is in a different category, because historically that's been multi-plat, because Doom the Dark Ages is on their blog and in their one trailer for big games coming this year. But I don't think they're going to make a showcase or a state of play where most of the games are Xbox games. That'd be very bizarre. It's the first one in over 2 years, and this would be the first time an Xbox game gets a trailer on a PlayStation show. I'm trying to think if there's an example of them doing this in the past. And again, I don't know if Doom is going to register to PlayStation and the general public as a quote-unquote, oh, that's an Xbox game. It's Doom, right? And so it was going to be an exclusive, according to Phil Spencer in that one internal memo. But I don't necessarily know if the public's going to see it that way. Oh, wow. Oh, my gosh. Doom. Like, Doom's already included in a PlayStation trailer for big games coming this year, as well as a blog. So I don't think they view it that way. It's like, yeah, we got to get people used to this. It's a well-known and iconic title that has been on a PlayStation the last 2 outings. Like, I don't think PlayStation has a vested interest into getting people used to it. I think they're just going to let it happen. Right? Now, for day and date games like Doom, Outer Worlds, stuff like that, I think that's different. I think there's 2 categories. I think like a Forza Horizon getting ported, just the same way that like Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves got ported, I don't think PlayStation pays that any mind. But I think like a big game that's coming, like a multi-plat that's coming, whether it's Outer Worlds 2, Doom, we're fairly confident in the future more and more games are going to land multi-plat, like Blade. There's rumors about Fable. I happen to think that Fable got delayed so that it could be multi-plat at release. I do think PlayStation will treat those games differently. They will. If it's multi-plat, the way that they're treating Doom, it stands to reason to include it in your show. It stands to reason. It's like, you have no reason to exclude it. But a game that's already been in the market for a while, like Forza Motorsport, coming over later, I don't think you include that. There's no reason to. It's like that's not a new game. That's Xbox maximizing the reach of their portfolio. So I think there's going to be a distinct categorical difference between like we're hearing rumors about, the Master Chief Collection coming over. I don't feel like PlayStation would put that in a showcase or a state of play. I could be wrong, but my gut says no. But the brand new Gears of War collection that we're hearing about, well, that would be a new thing. If that ended up happening, then I could see that being a part of a showcase or a state of play. If that makes sense. Couch Co-op Fest, roguelike platformer, Mother Machine, 2-player split screen, out now. What is this? Oh, I remember looking at Mother Machine. It looked like it could be kind of fun. If we don't see anything on Marathon at the state of play, consider it canceled. Oh, right, FCAT. I saw you say you expect Marathon to be there. I'll be really surprised if Marathon makes it to market. I will. I'll be really surprised if it makes it to market, given their current trajectory of canceling live service games. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in Marathon coming to market. My trip was great, Nitro Fusion. Thanks, man. It would be a good business sense for them to show a trailer, as in their fans who don't go on YouTube to watch shows like this to find out. It'd be a nice surprise for them. It all comes down to what PlayStation views as good for their brand. I don't know if it's good for their brand to have a state of play where they say, oh yeah, we're really excited for Forza to land on PlayStation. Maybe. They didn't do that with Hi-Fi Rush or Sea of Thieves. Now your pushback might be that like Forza's is a bigger and more iconic game than Hi-Fi and Sea of Thieves. But yeah, I don't know. It really comes down to whether or not PlayStation thinks it's good for their brand to include, 4 and 5-year-old games getting ported over to their platform from Xbox. Guys, we got 9 minutes and we're going to go to the green room. If you guys want to extend the stream, we got to hit 150 members and I'll extend the stream. I've been letting you guys do that. I've been putting the stream in your hands. So make sure and celebrate your renewals if you haven't already. And make sure you push the like button as well. Those are really helpful ways to help this video continue to perform well even when we're not streaming. 20 more likes would do it. Do we get a release date for Indiana Jones? Yeah, I don't know. We have yet to see how PlayStation is going to handle this. What's the green room? The green room is an end-of-the-day segment for paying members where you get to kind of see behind the scenes and how we plan out our shows. If you want to come with us, you do need to be a supporter of the channel. So you'd want to click join and then pick Member Plus. It's $6 a month. The standard $5 membership is basically our gifted tier. Gifted members get into morning coffee, which is how we start the day. That's a members-only segment for all members. Friday afternoons with my man Hilly, which is like usually a community game day, and then Friday nights with my wife. So gifted members get into most of the members' content, but the daily show ender called the Green Room is reserved for people who support the channel directly. If you can't afford a membership, I understand. Hang out as much as you can and hope for a gifted. But yeah. So in 8 minutes, we'll go to the green room. A lot of the times people go crazy with gifteds and help us hit new milestones, and then I'll extend the stream. So if this jumps to 150, I'll just keep streaming. And usually when we do that, we turn it into a members-only AMA, where you can submit questions, and I'll have them pop up on the screen. And then like this, AMA can usually turn to like non-gaming topics if you want. And Omar says, in line with the settings discussion, how do you feel about requiring users to be connected online to use a disk drive for the first time? Why is that even necessary? I believe it is to basically register the device with the PlayStation, and I'm sure that's an anti-piracy measure. There's probably some measure of anti-piracy there. Like, you don't want people to basically fiddle with the drive, somehow, like, basically, what would it be called? Like, if you jailbreak the drive to read, like, burn discs or something, and then you make copies of PlayStation games, that's probably why they do that. They want to verify that the device has not been tampered with. That's my assumption. And Mango becomes a Member Plus. If you do a Member Plus or a VIP as a brand new or an upgrade, I count it as 2, and that bumps the line to 119. Thank you so much, Mango. Yeah. It prevents third-party drives and tampering for piracy. Yeah, because that's exactly what would happen. You'd have companies making, aftermarket drives that could basically read, burned games, stuff like that. So I get that it's a pain, but it's literally a one-time thing. It's a one-time thing. So yeah. I'm not trying to make it backwards compatible with other discs. No, not me. Good luck with that. I should actually see how close we are to the milestone on Member Plus. A lot of you guys maintained your Member Pluses, and even people were upgrading while I was gone, which is just awesome. That's a huge need on the channel. Is we need more and more folks in that funnel. 572. We are only 28 people away from our big milestone. We want to have 600 people at Member Plus and above. So we only need 28 people to either upgrade or sign up brand new with Member Plus or VIP. So thank you so much, everybody who has done that. I believe the current record for that is 574. So we're only 2 below the all-time record. So usually when I go out of town, sometimes that number drops a lot. And it didn't, so that's good. I remember burn games being a thing in Dreamcast without a mod. I could see that. I remember people doing that with what's it called? The dadgum. The Redbox. I remember people doing that with Redbox. They were creating Redbox accounts. They would get like a Visa gift card from Kroger, and they would set up a Redbox account. And they would get the game and then just never give it back. So, 10 minutes ago, Warner Brothers says, in honor of the Hogwarts Legacy, the anniversary of the release, celebrate up to 70% off. So, digital editions of Hogwarts are now. And Steven says, let's go. And he bumps the line to 120 with his renewal. We're 5 away from me owing you guys some more members. We're 4 minutes away from going to the green room. If you guys want to extend, you're going to have to rally really quickly to get to 150. It can be done. It can be done. A 10 bomb to 130 and a 20 bomb to 150. Those big boys can come in sometimes at the buzzer. If you guys are going to do it before I set the stream up instead of when you guys do it once I've already got it set up and I'm trying to redirect. But thank you, Stephen Marston, for 41 months, dude. That's a long time. The fake discs from Redbox. Yeah, that was like an epidemic. Yeah, that was an epidemic. Because they would basically do it until they got caught and the account got shut down. But like they were setting up the account with like prepaid visas. I had friends that I played Call of Duty with that did it all the time. The green room, and folks are still calling you a pony? Forza's in the same lane as Gran Turismo in car games. These two are on top right now. Everything else is under, at least for me. Corey says, PlayStation dudes don't put Forza in the same category as Gran Turismo. Car dudes don't put Forza in the same category as Gran Turismo. No one puts an arcade racer in the same category as a sim racer. Yeah, I could see people seeing them as parallel, as games that can coexist perfectly fine. And people wonder why physical game media is problematic. Ahmed Khan says, show me. Show you what? What do you want to be shown? All right. You guys have 2 minutes to extend. I'm going to take the last question here in the question queue. Jeraith says, have you seen the ARPG Dragonkin that's soon to be released on PC Early Access and later for PS, Xbox? No. Let's take a look. Dragonkin? Is it Dragonkin the Banished? 3 days ago, a trailer. Looks like a top-down ARPG developed by Echo Software. Players enter a fantastical world as dragons roam the lands. Have been proven to be species to not be underestimated. It's hitting Steam Early Access on March the 6th. It'll release on PS5, Series X and S at a later date. Okay. Obviously very PoE and Diablo inspired here. Okay. Skill trees remind me of the skill trees of the guns in Ratchet and Clank, honestly. The basics of a Dragonkin world. I'm assuming this is one you could play with other people. And a gifted member from DK Bager. He's like, boys, it's easy. He's like, let's get a couple more. Yeah, so it looks like you can play with others. They just showed like 3 people standing next to you. Environments to explore. Yeah, the biomes look good and diverse. You know, use of color, enemy attacks and stuff. I mean, I think the difficulty is, too, sometimes though with games like this, is like, is it gonna feel like, you know, like a game you played before? I think that's always going to be the challenge. Standing out in that environment is going to be tough. PoE 2 is kind of crushing it. You know, Diablo is there. All right, I'm setting up the green room, and I'm going to give you guys a link, and then I'll redirect. Let me set up redirect on this stream. Nice, strong first day back, but we got work to do. We got to see if we can't make some videos. Need to start doing. We want to start having more regular uploads on the channel. And that is something you guys have been huge and helpful with when you watch those videos right at the start of the day. All right, the link in chat is where we're going. If you want to come with us, you need to be at a Member Plus or a VIP. You can click join and pick one of those. It helps out the channel directly, and you get into more content. Thank you so much for being a Member Plus or a VIP. We are still at a really, really great number there. 572 of you are paying for a Member Plus or a VIP. You are supporting the channel directly. There's still always about a couple thousand people that are on a gifted, which is only made possible by people being very generous and gifting. So if you're catching the tail end of an episode and you're like, man, I'd love to come with you guys, you can upgrade for $1. It's a $6 membership, and you get to come into the green room. And we would love to see the number of people supporting the channel directly go up and just not have such an enormous amount still on gifted every month. If you can't afford it, we're glad that you're getting those gifteds. I gifted a bunch today already, and I'm just back from a week off. So I'm going to end the previous stream and redirect folks over. And then I'm going to